A very good evening to all my dear students. Welcome to today's session for the auditing and assurance subject. How are you all? I can see that Karthik, Ben Reddy, Siddhant, Meghna, Hitesh, Siddharth, they have already joined. So I hope that you all have understood all the chapters which have been covered so far. That is still chapter number 9. And you have actually started learning and understanding all the concepts. Okay? So quickly send in your replies whether everything is clear till chapter number 9. Sonika, Nilabjo. A very good evening, students. And students, today we'll be starting with chapter number 10, which is what? The company audit. And this chapter is a totally law-based chapter. We will be covering section 139 to section 148 of the Companies Act. And along with these sections, we'll be covering various rules also. Okay? Apart from these, we'll be covering cost audit in detail, the related rules of cost audit. Then we'll be covering SA 299 related to joint audit, and SA 600 related to branch audit, right? Basically using the work of another auditor in case of branch, right? So let me just give you an overview of this chapter and then we'll quickly start. So the chapter is company audit. Meghna, I am also fine. And students are saying that everything is clear and they have started understanding and learning the auditing and assurance subject, which is very good, students. Okay. So now with a very positive note, let us start with chapter number 10, which is very, very important from the examination point of view also. In the recent papers, questions are coming from this chapter. It can be in the form of MCQs, descriptive type, true, false. A very important chapter. Okay? So what all we'll be covering in this chapter? So basically, students, chapter number 10 of the Companies Act. Now I'm referring to chapter number 10 of the Companies Act. Coincidentally, this chapter also comes at chapter number 10 in your module also. So the chapter number 10 of the Companies Act 2013, the name of which is what? Audit and Auditors. It has various sections that deal with various concepts related to audit. For example, section 139 is on appointment of auditors. Section 140 is with respect to removal, resignation of auditor and giving of special notice. Section 141, eligibility, qualification, disqualification of auditors. 142 related to remuneration of auditors. 143 containing the powers and duties of auditor and about auditing standards. 144, the auditor is prohibited from rendering certain services. What are those services is contained in section 144. Section 145 is auditor's duty to sign audit report. 146 deals with auditor's duty and right to attend the general meeting. Section 147 with respect to punishment for contravention. 148 related to cost records and cost audit, right? As I've told you that along with the Companies Act, since it is a rule-based act, corresponding rules to this chapter, chapter number 10 is what? Companies Audit and Auditor Rules 2014, that is CAR 2014. Okay, so we'll be referring to these rules also. Then when we'll be doing cost audit in detail, you will come across Companies Cost Records and Audit Rules 2014. That also will be covering. Apart from that, CARO 2020, very, very, very important. In fact, this entire chapter is very important, right? Then we'll be covering SA 299 related to joint audit and SA 600, that is using the work of another auditor. Okay? So these are the topics that we will be covering. I understand that in your company law, you must have covered these sections, section 139 to 148. But now here we will be doing this section in detail from the auditor's point of view, from the audit perspective, right? But before starting with these chapters, students, I expect that these sections which are now being reflected on your screen, that is section 129, in fact 128 to 138, which is contained in chapter number 9 of the Companies Act. The name of this chapter is what? Accounts of companies. This you all have done in your company law, in your corporate law, right? So a little bit of the knowledge of these sections will also be required when we'll be going through chapter number 10. As and when they will come, I'll be touching upon these sections. But as of now, I'll be assuming that yes, you all have an understanding about these sections. Okay? So section 128 relating to the maintenance of books of accounts, 129 relating to financial statements. You can just have a look at these sections. You all have covered these. Okay? Now, one more thing, students. All these sections will be covering, and I'll be following the sequence which is given in your module, right? So first of all, I'll be starting with section 141, which is eligibility, qualification, and disqualification of auditors. Okay? So I hope like till now, I have just given you an overview as to what all will be covering. And students, I'm repeating it again here, a very important chapter, right? It is a totally law-based chapter. You can get any question, any type of question, and any number of questions from this chapter. Very important chapter. Okay? Right. So section 141, eligibility, qualification, and disqualification of an auditor. So quickly, let me just ask you one query. Tell me who, according to you, is eligible to be appointed as an auditor of a company. And students, since we are discussing Companies Act here, so we will be discussing about company only here. Okay? When you have done the definition of audit, if you remember, it is independent examination of financial information of any entity. Okay? But here we are referring to what? A company. We are referring to Companies Act here. So whatever discussion will take place in this chapter is pertaining to a company. Okay? So tell me who, according to you, is eligible to be appointed as a statutory audit of a company. Okay? Absolutely correct, Siddharth, Sonika, Nilabjo, and Sarthak, chartered accountant. Okay? So section 141 consists of 4 subsections. We will be covering each and every subsection in detail one by one. So subsection 1 of section 141 says that a person is eligible to be appointed as an auditor of the company only if he is a chartered accountant. Only if he is a chartered accountant. Now, students, the term chartered accountant has been defined in the Companies Act, section 2 of the Companies Act, and the relevant clause is clause 17. So section 2, clause 17 of the Companies Act defines chartered accountant as a chartered accountant as defined in clause B of subsection 1 of section 2 of the Chartered Accountant Act 1949, who holds a valid certificate of practice under subsection 1 of section 6 of that act. So the person must be a chartered accountant under the CA Act 1949. And let us just have a look as to what CA Act, what this clause B of subsection 1 of section 2 of CA Act says. It says that a person who is a member of the institute is a chartered accountant. Okay? So basically a person who is a chartered accountant as per the CA Act, and CA Act says the person who is a member of the institute, plus he should hold a valid certificate of practice. ठीक है. So a chartered accountant who is holding a practicing certificate, ठीक है, he is only eligible to be appointed as an auditor of a company. Is it clear? Is it clear? Right. ठीक है. Further, subsection 1 also says that अभी तक तो see, we are talking about individual as an auditor. So if a firm of chartered accountants is to be appointed as an auditor, that is, appointment is to be made in the firm's name, then if the majority of the partners practicing in India are qualified for appointment as aforesaid. Aforesaid means that the majority of the partners are what? Practicing chartered accountants, okay? Holding a valid certificate of practice, then the appointment of the firm as an auditor can be made in the firm's name. Clear? Very simple, that only a person who is a chartered accountant. Further, a firm can be appointed as an auditor in the firm's name if majority of the partners practicing in India are qualified for appointment as aforesaid. As aforesaid, it means what? As said earlier, that is, the majority of the partners practicing in India are also what? Chartered accountants. As aforesaid, जो भी पहले कहा गया है, क्या कहा गया है पहले? This point, point number 1. ठीक है, simple. So this was subsection 1. ठीक है. So eligibility qualification, है ना? Can you relate this subsection 1 to these 2 points? Eligibility qualification. So only if he's a chartered accountant, and a firm can be appointed as an auditor in the name of the firm if the majority of the partners practicing in India are qualified for appointment as aforesaid, that is, the majority of the partners are also chartered accountant, right? Subsection 2 says that a firm including LLP, limited liability partnership, can be appointed as the auditor of a company. So here it clarifies that LLP can be appointed as the auditor of the company. Okay. Then it says that in such a case, only the partners, see, there is a concept of multidisciplinary CA firms. Hana, multidisciplinary firms are there now, where the MBAs, the CA, the CS, all are partners. So in that case, only the CA is authorized to act and sign on behalf of the firm. ठीक है? It might happen, a multidisciplinary firm hai, where MBA is also one of the partners, CS is also one of the partners, there are 2 CAs. So here only these 2 are authorized to act and sign on behalf of the firm as the auditor. The MBA or the CS cannot sign the audit report as such. ठीक है? So subsection 2 here clarifies that if a firm, including the limited liability partnership, is appointed as the auditor of a company, then only the CA partner is authorized to act and sign on behalf of the firm. Clear? So eligibility qualification we have covered in subsection 1 and subsection 2 of section 141. Quickly send in your replies. Is it clear till now? Students, try to make this session as interactive as possible, as I always tell you. Okay? You are going to find this chapter very interesting. Yes, Pooja. Okay? Is it clear? Quickly send in your replies. So subsection 1 and subsection 2. So subsection 1 में क्या बोला गया? Only CA. ठीक है? And in case of a firm including LLP, then only the CA partner is authorized to act and sign on behalf of the firm. Clear? So Sudhanshu, your query will be cleared after some time. ठीक है? Sudhanshu has raised a very good query related to this topic, but I'll be taking this up after some time, as in when that point will come. Now subsection 3. So eligibility and qualification is done. So what is the name of this section? Section 141, eligibility, qualification and disqualification. Now subsection 3 of section 141, which deals with disqualification of an auditor. And students, here we will be reading subsection 3 of section 141 along with one of the rules, rule number 10 of the company's audit and auditor rules 2014. Okay? If you remember, I told you before starting the class that in this chapter we will be referring to company's audit and auditor rules 2014. So in this entire chapter, these rules are referred to. However, with respect to cost audit, we will be referring to what? The company's cost records and audit rules 2014. Okay? Now, disqualification. So it says that under these circumstances, a person is not eligible to be appointed as the auditor of a company. Okay? So we will be referring to all those cases one by one. So the first point is there are in total 9 situations whereby a person becomes ineligible. He is not eligible to be appointed as an auditor of the company. So the first point is a body corporate other than an LLP. So a company, for example, body corporate can be what? A company. So company cannot be appointed as an auditor of the company. Specifically, ineligibility has been given to a company that it cannot be appointed as an auditor of a company. Yes, LLP can be appointed. LLP is also one of the form of body corporates, but LLP can be appointed as an auditor of the company. Right? Clear? Is it clear? Okay. Then point number 2, an officer or employee of the company. An officer or employee of the company. For example, let's say A Limited is the company and CAX, he is an employee of this company. He is a chartered accountant. He is an employee of this company. Okay? So he cannot be appointed as an auditor of this company. Quickly tell me why. Quickly tell me why an officer or employee of the company cannot be appointed as an auditor of the company, and the answer lies in chapter number 1. Quickly send in your reply. Because, let me just wait for 5 seconds, then I'll start. Yes, there is threat to independence. Okay? An officer or an employee of company. So let us first understand what is an officer. So the term officer has been defined in section 2, clause 59 of the Companies Act 2013, whereby it says officer includes any director, manager, or key managerial person, or any person in accordance with whose directions or instructions the board of directors or any one or more of directors is accustomed to act. Okay? So it includes any director, manager, or key managerial person. And what is key managerial person? Let me just take you through that definition also. So the term key managerial person is defined in section 2, clause 51 of the Companies Act 2013, and it says KMP in relation to a company means KMP is what? Key managerial person it means. So various positions have been defined as what? KMP. So CEO of the company, Chief Executive Officer, MD, Managing Director or a manager, a company secretary, the whole-time director, the CFO, Chief Financial Officer, or such other officer as may prescribe. They are what? KMP. So as such, for the purpose of this chapter, you need not as such learn or cram these definitions. These are just for your understanding. Okay? So where were we? We were discussing clause B. An officer or employee of the company. Why? Because the independence, there will be a threat to independence. An officer or employee of the company will be biased by because they have the interest in the client organization. If CAX is appointed as the auditor of A Limited, and if he wants to give an opinion that the financial statement do not reflect a true and fair view, he will not be in a position to get that opinion. Why? Because he is not independent. If he's an employee, his salary has to come from the company. His bonus has to come from the company. He's subordinate to the management, Hana. So he cannot be unbiased in such a situation. He would be biased and thus not independent. Okay? Clear? So first is what? Body corporate other than LLP, that is LLP can be appointed as an auditor of the company. Then an officer or employee of the company. Clear? Now from clause B comes out clause C also, that is officer and employee of the company. So we have covered in clause B, right? But a partner or employee of officer or employee of the company. So let's say CAX, Hana, if he has a partner CAY, so he can also not be appointed as auditor of A Limited. So why? Because he is partner of officer of the company. Partner is who? CAY. Officer in our example is CAX and company is what? A Limited. So partner or employee of officer or employee of company is also not eligible to be appointed as an auditor of the company. And again, what is the reason? There will be threat to independence of such auditor. Clear? Is it clear? So let me just revise as to what we have done so far. We have started with section 141, which deals with eligibility, qualification, and disqualification of an auditor. We started with subsection 1, which says that a person shall be eligible to be appointed as an auditor only if he is a chartered accountant. A firm of chartered accountants can be appointed in as auditor in the firm's name if majority of the partners practicing in India are what? Chartered accountants, are qualified for appointment as aforesaid. Second, a firm including LLP is eligible, but yes, in that case, only the CA partners are authorized to act and sign. Sign what? Sign the audit report on behalf of the firm. Okay? Section 141, subsection 3, along with Rule 10 of the Companies Audit and Auditor Rules 2014, it deals with what all persons are not eligible, are disqualified to be appointed as an auditor of the company, whereby we have covered 3 clauses: a body corporate other than LLP, an officer or employee of the company, and a partner or employee of officer or employee of the company. Now clause D, very, 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 very important. But before that, quickly send in your replies whether whatever we have done so far is clear or not. In case of any doubt, please let me know. Quickly send in your replies. Yes, Sri Ram, that officer or employee or his partner cannot express true and fair opinion on the financial statement. Okay, so many of you have answered correctly. Gehani, Sri Ram, Sudhanshu, Manoj, Nilabjo, Pooja, Sridhara, Sonika, Pothina, Bindu, that there will be threat to independence. Is it clear? Now, the fourth, that is clause D of section 141, subsection 3. So it says that a person is not eligible to be appointed as an auditor of the company if the person himself, let's say CAX, or his relative, let's say Mrs. X, or his partner, let's say CAY. So this is our example that CAX and CAY are there. Okay? Appointment as an auditor of A Limited is to be made. Okay? So CAX is not eligible to be appointed as an auditor of the company if CAX himself or the relative, example Mrs. X, or the partner, example CAY in our case, have 3 type of transactions with the company in which the appointment is to be made. That is in our case A Limited. Okay? But before going into the details of the 3 types of transaction, let us just quickly have a look to the definition of term relative, which is again given in section 2, clause 77 of the Companies Act 2013. So relative with reference to any person, that is CAX in our case, means anyone who is related to another if they are members of HUF, right? Members of HUF are what? Relatives. They are husband or wife, or one person is related to another in such manner as may be prescribed. And students, you all know that since Company Act 2013 is a law-based act, and wherever it is mentioned that it is a rule-based act, and wherever it is mentioned that for example, here it is mentioned that such person as may be prescribed or such limit as may be prescribed. So where is it always prescribed? In the rules. We need to refer to the rules. So in the rules, it has been specifically mentioned that father is a relative, mother is a relative, son is a relative, brother is a relative, and sister is a relative, including the step, that is stepfather, stepmother, stepson, stepbrother, or stepsister. Then son's wife is a relative, daughter is a relative, and daughter's husband is a relative. Okay? So all these people are covered in what? The definition of relative, which is given in section 2, clause 77 of the Companies Act 2013. Okay? Clear? So members of HUF, husband, wife, and such person as are prescribed. And what are those persons which are prescribed in the rules? Father, mother, son, brother, sister, including the step also. Son's wife, daughter, and daughter's husband. Okay? So these are what? The relatives. Okay? Now try to understand this. So this D clause has 3 parts. Okay? So pehle part mein to, in the first part, we are saying that CAX, that is the person, is not eligible to be appointed as an auditor if either CAX or his wife, example in our case, relative to ab kuch bhi ho sakta hai na, father of CAX, mother of CAX, but I'm taking for simplicity example of Mrs. X and partner CAY. Okay? In first instance, in first situation where they are holding any security in the company A Limited or the subsidiary or the holding or the associate or the subsidiary of such holding. Okay? I'll just repeat it. So here we are talking about as to whether CAX is eligible to be appointed as an auditor of the company or not. So clause D says if CAX himself, that is the person, or Mrs. X, that is the relative, or CAY, that is the partner of CAX in this case, in our example. So if they hold, if any of them, either person, CAX, relative, or Mrs. X, if they hold any security where in A Limited, company here is what? Our A Limited in our example, or subsidiary of A Limited, or holding, or associate, or other subsidiary of the holding of A Limited, then CAX, that is the person, is ineligible. He is not eligible to be appointed as the auditor of the company. Is it clear? Here, whatever is included in the definition of relative, I have mentioned. Yes, stepdaughter specifically is not mentioned in the Companies Act or the rules prescribed. Okay? And Manoj, majority of partner means more than 50%. Okay? Clear? So try to understand. Here we are talking about the eligibility of CAX, whether he is eligible to be appointed as auditor of of A Limited. So he is not eligible if either he himself or his relative or his partner is holding any security, be it a share, be it a debenture, any security or interest, not only in A Limited, not only in the company, but also in the subsidiary, the holding, the associate, or other subsidiary of the holding of A Limited. Clear? Clear? Okay? Now, with respect to relative, there are certain other provisions with respect to relative. So, it says that a relative may hold security in all these companies, but the face value Face value of such securities should not exceed rupees 1 lakhs. It should not exceed rupees 1 lakhs. Okay? And in case the face value exceeds the threshold limit, what is the threshold limit? Here, rupees 1 lakhs. Then 60 days time period has been given to take corrective action. That is, either the relative can sell off such shares or may transfer such shares. That is 1 lakh se niche aana chahiye share value. And students, please, very important, this is not market value. This is what your face value. Market value may be 2 lakhs, maybe 5 lakhs. We are here talking about what? Face value. So section 141, subsection 3, clause D. Point number 1 talks about if any person, his relative or partner is holding any security in the company, subsidiary, holding, associate or subsidiary of the holding, right? However, the relative, that is in our case Mrs. X, may hold the securities of the face value not exceeding rupees 1 lakh. And in case this 1 lakh is exceeded, then a grace period, a time is given to CAX, that is within 60 days from the date of acquisition of such interest. है ना, जब परचेज किए थे शेयर्स, 60 days from that date, the corrective action. अब corrective action क्या होगा? Mrs. X can sell off such shares. Mrs. X can transfer such shares to someone else. है ना? So those should be, the corrective action should be taken. And here a very important point, as I told you, that we are not talking about market value. You may get an MCQ that with respect to the shares being held by Mrs. X, the market value is rupees 2 lakhs. So in that case, there will be no disqualification. Why? Because we need to see the face value. If face value is less than 1 lakh, then there is no disqualification. And the 60 days corrective period is given to with respect to holding of shares by the relative. Okay? So if Mr. X, in our case, that is CAX or CAX or CAY, that is the partner, these provisions are not applicable for CAX and CAY. So that is the person himself or his partner. So if they hold the security in either the company, the holding, the subsidiary, the associate or the subsidiary of the holding of even rupees 100, there will be ineligibility of whom? Of CAX in our case. Okay? Is it clear? Is it clear? Ben Reddy? Ben Reddy is saying either the shares can be removed or the relative can be removed. So I'll advise you all that if you become the CA and this is the situation that you face, then please remove the shares. Take corrective action with respect to shares. Okay? So if a CA is holding, Nilabjo, if a CA himself is holding the shares of a company, he cannot be appointed as an auditor of the company. Okay? So this 60 days or 1 lakh face value, all these relaxation are given with respect to relative, not the CA or not the partner. Okay? So Ben Reddy, your doubt is clear. Nilabjo, is it clear? So the holding of Mrs. X will be seen with respect to the company in which CAX is to be appointed as the auditor. So what is the query, Karthik, with respect to this point? Whatever you have written is correct. See, 60 days time period has been given now. So who's Hiral? It will be more clear when we go through these provisions. See. So let me just take you through this point. Hiral, your doubt will be cleared. Just a minute. See, Siddharth, the CA himself, he has to look into all these things now, because there are various penal provisions under the CA Act also, under the Companies Act also. So the CA himself sees all these provisions. And with Hiral, with respect to your query, see, students, let us just read this clause again. So under subsection 3 of section 141, along with rule 10 of the Companies Audit Auditor Rule 2014, the following person shall not to be eligible. Kaun hai? I'm just reading clause number D here. A person who, that is CA, I'm not able to write here, CA X, his relative or partner, is holding any security or interest in the company, its subsidiary, its holding, its associate, or a subsidiary of such holding. It may be noted that the relative may hold a security or interest in the company of face value not exceeding rupees 1 lakh. Clear? Students may also note that in the event of acquiring any security or interest by a relative above the threshold prescribed, what is the threshold prescribed? Rupees 1 lakh. The corrective action kya hoga? To sell off the shares, to transfer the shares, to maintain the limits as specified above, shall be taken by the auditor within 60 days from the date of acquisition of the interest. तो जब इंटरेस्ट एक्वायर किया था, जब वो 1 लाख को एक्सीड कर गया, उस डेट से 60 days grace period has been given to the auditor कि auditor, you need to sell off such shares, otherwise you will become disqualified. ठीक है? ठीक है students, is it clear? So Hiral, is your doubt clear? Is your doubt clear, Hiral? ठीक है? So this was just one of the points of clause D. ठीक है? But clause D start कैसे होता है? ऐसे ही, a person, relative or partner. ठीक है? Students, I am repeating again a very important question, topic with respect to your case scenario or MCQ or true false. ठीक है? Question can always come. ठीक है? So now clause number D, point number 2. So person, relative or partner. So what we are saying that a person is ineligible if the person himself or the relative or the partner is indebted to the company, the subsidiary, the holding, the associate or subsidiary of the holding in excess of rupees 5 lakhs. That is, if the company, let's say example, the person CA X in our case, or Mrs. X or CY, any one of them, if they are indebted, that is, they owe to the company or to the subsidiary, or the holding, associate or subsidiary of the holding, or let's say they have taken a loan of an amount exceeding rupees 5 lakhs, then in such a situation, the person, that is CAX, is ineligible to be appointed as an auditor of the company. ठीक है? So अगर CAX को देखना है कि whether he can be appointed as an auditor of A Limited, तो he'll see कि मैंने कोई लोन तो नहीं लिया हुआ है from this company, मेरी वाइफ ने तो कोई लोन नहीं लिया हुआ है, CAY ने तो कोई लोन नहीं लिया हुआ है, ऐसा तो नहीं है that I owe more than 5 lakh rupees to this company. ठीक है? And if such is the situation that if more than 5 lakhs, 6 lakhs, for example, is been owed by the person himself, his relative or his partner to either the company, A Limited में appointment देखना है ना, या उसकी कोई भी subsidiary में, या A Limited की holding में, या associate में, या subsidiary of the holding of A Limited, then if it exceeds 5 lakhs, then there will be ineligibility of whom? Of CAX. Is it clear? Is it clear? And the third point, again, we will read from here. So the person will be ineligible to be appointed as an auditor of the company if the person himself or the relative or the partner has given guarantee or security in connection with indebtedness of any third person to either the company, the subsidiary, holding, associate, subsidiary of holding in excess of rupees 1 lakhs. ठीक है? So here what was the situation, that the person himself or his relative or the partner is indebted to the company, कि उसी ने लोन लिया हुआ है, ठीक है, या उसके पार्टनर ने या उसके रिलेटिव ने. And here what is the situation? For example, in our case we have to see the eligibility of CAX, ठीक है, in A Limited. Now let's say Mr. M, a third person, has taken a loan from A Limited more than rupees 1 lakh, let's say 1,50,000. And CAX has given guarantee to A Limited that in case Mr. M does not pay such amount, I guarantee it, I'll be paying it to you. So CAX has given guarantee to A Limited with respect to a third person for an amount exceeding rupees 1 lakh. In such a situation also, CAX will be ineligible. Students, just try to understand the basis as to why such ineligibility gets attracted. See the independence. There is a threat to independence. Now, why? Because now if CAX has given a guarantee, or if CAX is indebted to the company for an amount exceeding rupees 5 lakhs, let's say in point number 2, then there is an interest in the client organization now. Then how can CAX be independent? So there is what threat to independence in mind as well as in appearance. किसी को भी दिखेगा that okay, CAX is indebted to the company in appearance also and in mind of CAX also. ठीक है? So is it clear? So let us just look at point number D again. So see. So point number 1, 2, and 3. So it says that a person is not eligible to be appointed as an auditor of a company if that person himself or his relative or his partner holds any security in the company itself, no, in the company or the holding of the company or the subsidiary of the company or the associate or other subsidiaries of the holding of such company. Okay? But a relative can hold a security up to face value not exceeding rupees 1 lakh. And in case it exceeds 1 lakh, then 60 days grace period has been given to the auditor to take a corrective action. Corrective action का क्या मतलब है? That the shares will be sold off. ठीक है? If the person, the relative or the partner is indebted, ऋणी है कंपनी का, उधार लिया हुआ है कंपनी से, कितना है? An amount exceeding rupees 5 lakhs. सिर्फ कंपनी से नहीं, यहाँ पे सेम आएगा. कंपनी, होल्डिंग, सब्सिडरी, एसोसिएट या सब्सिडरी ऑफ होल्डिंग कंपनी. ठीक है? Then also CAX becomes ineligible. And if guarantee has been given for a third person, Mr. M in our example, for an amount exceeding rupees 1 lakh, then also ineligibility है. Guarantee किसको दिया है? कंपनी को नहीं, कंपनी को या होल्डिंग को या सब्सिडरी को या एसोसिएट को या सब्सिडरी ऑफ द होल्डिंग को. Clear? So this clause talks about 3 persons, person, relative and partner. कहाँ पे कुछ भी ट्रांजैक्शन है, कंपनी में, होल्डिंग में, सब्सिडरी में, एसोसिएट में या सब्सिडरी ऑफ होल्डिंग में. ठीक है? एंड किसका इनएलिजिबिलिटी देख रहे हैं? वो तो सेक्शन 141 सबसेक्शन 3 में स्टार्टिंग में आया था, द पर्सन. सो इनएलिजिबिलिटी इसका देख रहे हैं, पर्सन CAX का. अगर CAX, the person himself or the relative Mrs. X or the partner CAY in our case have any of these transactions, any security, debenture हो, share हो, कुछ भी security हो, ठीक है? And this relaxation of 1 lakh, this corrective period of 60 days have been given to relative. So if the person himself, CAX or his partner holds a security of even rupees 100, then CAX is not eligible to be appointed as the auditor of the company. Very, very important. You may get any MCQ or any case scenario. Let us just have a look at this example number 1. Example number 3 and 4 are your homework. Quickly, do not look at the answers. Okay? Just give me the answer for example 1. So Siddharth, in point number 2, the person himself is indebted or his relative, है ना, or his partner. But in point number 3, किसी थर्ड पर्सन के लिए गारंटी दिया हुआ है, तो लोन एज सच पार्टनर ने या रिलेटिव ने या सीए ने नहीं लिया, बट गारंटी दिया हुआ है फॉर अ लोन बीइंग टेकन बाय व्हाट, अ थर्ड पर्सन. इज इट क्लियर? Whose doubt was it? Siddharth? So Karthik, was your doubt clear? ठीक है. So Mr. A, a practicing chartered accountant, is holding securities of XYZ Limited. तो यहाँ पर तो Mr. A, the person himself, is holding securities. But देखो, the face value is rupees 900 only. That is less than rupees 1 lakh. ठीक है. So whether Mr. A is qualified, quickly send in your replies, yes or no. He is ineligible. Why? Because don't get confused with this 900. यहाँ पर क्या है? Mr. A. अगर आता that Mrs. A is holding security of rupees 900 and Mr. A is a practicing chartered accountant, then this ineligibility would not have get attracted. However, here, since the CA himself, Mr. A himself, is holding the securities of XYZ Limited, then he is not eligible. So in the present case, Mr. A is holding securities of 900 in XYZ Limited. Therefore, he is not eligible for appointment as an auditor of XYZ Limited. Question number, example 2, quickly send in your replies. So Ben Reddy has already answered for second question. Charu is correct. ठीक है. So Mr. P is a practicing chartered accountant. ठीक है. And Mr. Q, the relative of Mr. P, is holding securities of ABC Limited. So who is holding the securities? Mr. Q. Having face value of 90,000, which is what, less than 1 lakh. Whether Mr. P is qualified for being appointed as an auditor of the company. So the answer is what? Yes. Therefore, Mr. P will not be disqualified. That is, he is qualified to be appointed as an auditor of the company. Why? Because, see, in the present case, Mr. Q, relative of Mr. P, is having securities of 90,000 face value, which is as per the requirement of proviso to section 141, subsection 3, clause D, point I. ठीक है. So, yes, he is eligible. ठीक है. So, students, quickly just write down that example number 3 is your homework and your example number 4 also. ठीक है. I hope this clause D is clear. Is it clear? ठीक है. So abhi tak what we have done, section 141, subsection 1 and 2. 1 is what? That a person is eligible only if he is a chartered accountant. In case of a firm, majority of the partners practicing in India are qualified for appointment as aforesaid. That is what they are, what? Chartered accountant may be appointed by its firm name to be appointed as the auditor of the company. In case of the firm including LLP, the same can be appointed, but only the partners who are chartered accountants should be authorized to act and sign on behalf of the firm. ठीक है. Section 141, subsection 3, along with Rule 10 of Companies Audit and Auditor Rules 2014, it says that following persons are not eligible: body corporate rather than LLP, an officer or employee of the company, a person who is officer, who is partner, or who is employee of the company. ठीक है. A person who is or his relative or person is holding any security. ठीक है. However, 1 lakh का relaxation is there for relative and 60 days का grace period is there. ठीक है. Relative क्या होता है? You all know now. ठीक है. And see, it is specifically mentioned. In case of an auditor or his partner, securities of even small value shall be a disqualification. ठीक है. And grace period of 60 days for corrective action shall apply only in respect of securities held by relatives. This would not apply to auditor and partner. You may get a question that the partner of the auditor, the proposed auditor, he has securities worth rupees 1,10,000 and within a period of 30 days he has sold all those securities. ठीक है. But you all know that at that point he cannot be appointed. Why? Because even a small value security is not permitted with respect to the auditor or the partner himself. ठीक है. Or the partner or the auditor himself. The person, the relative or the partner is indebted to the company or subsidiary or holding or associate or subsidiary of such holding company in excess of rupees 5 lakhs. So more than rupees 5 lakhs. Or has given a guarantee or provided any security in connection with indebtedness of any third person to the company or its subsidiary, holding, associate, subsidiary of such company in excess of more than rupees 1 lakhs. ठीक है. So Manoj, in your the query that you have raised, in that case there will be no ineligibility. ठीक है. Is it clear? So Pooja has done the homework in the class itself. ठीक है. Now we have done 4 clauses. Now clause E. ठीक है. So students, in clause D we had discussed about what person, relative or partner, which I have marked in pink here. ठीक है. Otherwise in the clauses that will come we will be talking about the individual auditor or the firm, the audit firm जिसको appoint करना है. ठीक है. तो relative partner की as such will not be talking. However, wherever it will be specifically mentioned, I'll tell you. ठीक है. तो person, relative, partner वाला जो clause था वो clause D था. ठीक है. Now clause E. The person, that is the CA or the audit firm जिसको appoint करना है. ठीक है. So the firm or the person is not eligible if the CA, that is the person, or the firm, let's say Messrs. XY and Associates, जिसकी बात हो रही है, they have directly or indirectly has business relationship with किसके साथ? Company, subsidiary, holding, associate और subsidiary of such holding. यहीं तक था ना ऊपर वाली clause में. यहाँ पे एक addition है, or associate of the company. Subsidiary of the associate. This is an addition here. ठीक है. So a person or a firm is not eligible to be appointed as an auditor of a company if they have directly or indirectly any business relationship with the company or the subsidiary, the holding, the associate, or the subsidiary of the holding or the associate. ठीक है. Now what is meant by business relationship is, it is mentioned that business relationship means as may be prescribed, and I have told you where is it prescribed in the rules. ठीक है. And the rules define business relationship as any transaction entered into for a commercial purpose. कोई भी transaction for a commercial is again what? Business, है ना. So such if the person or the audit firm has any business purpose transaction with the company or the subsidiary or the holding associate or subsidiary of holding or associate company, then such person is ineligible. He is not eligible to be appointed as the auditor of the company, except there are 2 exceptions to this. ठीक है. Is it clear? Is it clear? Is it clear? ठीक है. Charu, I'll take your query at the end of the session. ठीक है. Now, except. So, in order to understand these 2 exceptions, let us first take an example. So, let's say my client, just A Limited in our case, and who was the CA, CAX. So, CAX is to be appointed as an auditor of A Limited, and A Limited is a telecom company. ठीक है. सो टेलीकॉम कंपनी है तो इसका कोई भी कमर्शियल ट्रांजैक्शन क्या होगा, बिजनेस ट्रांजैक्शन, दैट इज सेलिंग ऑफ इट्स सिम कार्ड्स, है ना. और लेट्स से टेक एग्जांपल ऑफ होटल. सो इसका कमर्शियल ट्रांजैक्शन क्या होगा, रूम रेंट, टेकिंग गिविंग द रूम्स ऑन रेंट, है ना, और गिविंग द सर्विसेज ऑफ लेट्स से बैंकेट हॉल्स. ठीक है. Now, these are what the commercial transactions. So, if we go by this clause that the person, the CA should not have any transaction for commercial purpose with the client. So, let's say our client here, telecom, is a telecom company or a hotel. So, according to this clause, फिर तो इसका मतलब ये है ना कि CA X इस होटल में कभी stay ही नहीं कर सकता, या CA X इस telecom company का कभी SIM purchase नहीं कर सकता. Because अगर उसने ऐसा किया, he'll be disqualified. So the answer to this question of mine is no. Why? Because this is an exception. So if CAX as a customer has any transaction with A Limited and such transaction is at arm's length price. What is arm's length price? The price at which it has been provided to a third party, to unrelated party, at the same price CAX is also been given such service. वो सिम कार्ड उतने में ही मिल रहा है जितना किसी और को मिलता, या वो रूम रेंट सेम पे कर रहा है, and CAX is taking those services as a customer, then there will be no ineligibility for CAX, है ना. बिकॉज अगर ये एक्सेप्शन नहीं होगा ना, जस्ट ट्राई टू अंडरस्टैंड, सिर्फ ये वाला क्लॉज है, क्लॉज ई, ऐसे तो उस होटल में कभी स्टे कर ही नहीं सकते ना. अगर हमारा क्लाइंट है वो, ऐसे तो उसका सिम कार्ड कभी यूज नहीं कर सकते. सो दिस इज वन ऑफ द एक्सेप्शंस. ठीक है. सो इफ बेसिकली पॉइंट नंबर 2 ऑफ एक्सेप्शन अभी मैंने कवर किया, एंड इट सेज दैट इफ द कंपनी इज गिविंग एनी सर्विस टू RCA, है ना, and the CA is taking that service as a customer, and that is at an arm's length price. Arm's length price is what? At a distance. That is at a price at which it will be available to a third party, to an unrelated person. उसी price पे मिल रहा है, then that will not be considered as a business relationship for the purpose of this clause. Clear? So this was point number 2 of exception. तो यहां पर क्या था, that the company is giving certain service or certain product to what? To CAX in our case. ठीक है. A Limited is giving this service. If A Limited is what? Telecom, होटल. ठीक है. तो मतलब अगर मेरा कोई क्लाइंट टेलीकम्युनिकेशन कंपनी है तो उसका सिम कार्ड परचेज कर सकती हूँ. इफ इट इज अ होटल, वहां स्टे कर सकती हूँ. इफ इट इज अ हॉस्पिटल, एडमिट हो सकते हैं. ठीक है. सो इफ सच सिमिलर बिजनेस इज देयर, देन बिजनेस रिलेशनशिप विल नॉट बी कंस्टिट्यूट फॉर द पर्पस ऑफ दिस क्लॉज. ठीक है. नाउ पॉइंट नंबर 1, एक्सेप्शन 1. तो यहां पर क्या है, A Limited is giving certain product to the auditor and vice versa. That is, the auditor here is giving certain services to the company. तो उसको भी ऐसे तो देखो ना, for an auditor, what are the commercial purpose? Business क्या है? यही है ना, टैक्स ऑडिट करना, है ना, स्टैट्यूटरी ऑडिट करना. So it says that if permitted professional services are being provided by the CA to the client, then it will not be considered as having business relationship for the purpose of this clause, है ना. But the services should be what? Permitted. And from here, let me just tell you that in this session itself, we will be doing section 144. Certain services which are prohibited, a CA cannot, an auditor cannot render certain class of services to the client, है ना. So if permitted professional services, permitted का example I have given you what? Tax audit. तो अगर statutory auditor देखना है and you're already the tax auditor of the company, then that CA is not ineligible. He is eligible to be appointed as the statutory auditor. Why? Because ये business relationship में नहीं आया. So permitted professional services CA render कर सकता है, and the client can provide the products or services to the CA where CA is obtaining all such services or product as a customer at the arm's length price. So these are the two exceptions. These are the two exceptions. So absolutely correct. Siddharth is saying that if he is conducting the audit of Indian Railways, तो अगर इस clause में fall कर गए, clause E में without exception, तो वो तो फिर train से travel नहीं कर सकता ना. See, it is mentioned such other similar businesses. ठीक है मनोज, टेलीकॉम, एयरलाइंस, हॉस्पिटल, होटल्स, ये सर्विसेज तो चाहिए ही ना. क्लियर? इज इट क्लियर? ठीक है स्टूडेंट्स, इज इट क्लियर? See, if a discount is provided to others also, arm's length price क्या होता है? The price at which you are providing the service to the third person, to any unrelated person, उसी price पे आपको मिल रहा है, आपके लिए कोई special favors नहीं है, then it is at arm's length price. Is it clear? Whose query was it? Nilabjo, is it clear? ठीक है. So this was about clause E. Let us just have a look at this clause from the module also. So a person or a firm is not eligible if the person or a firm who, whether directly or indirectly, has business relationship with the company, subsidiary, holding, associate company, subsidiary of such holding or associate company as may be prescribed. तो business relationship कहाँ पर prescribe किया गया है? Rules में. It shall be construed as any transaction entered into for commercial purpose. Commercial purpose is what? Business. अब टेलीकॉम का business क्या है? सिम कार्ड्स बेचना ना. या होटल का क्या है? रेंट पे देना ना रूम, या जो भी सर्विसेज प्रोवाइड करना. एक्सेप्ट, सो देयर आर टू एक्सेप्शंस. तो यहाँ पर क्या है? सीए इज प्रोवाइडिंग द सर्विस टू द कंपनी, एंड यहाँ पे क्या है? कंपनी इज प्रोवाइडिंग द सर्विस टू द सीए. सो कमर्शियल ट्रांजैक्शन विच आर इन द नेचर ऑफ प्रोफेशनल सर्विसेज परमिटेड टू बी rendered by the auditor or audit firm under the act, मतलब Companies Act 2013. तो यहाँ पर I gave you reference of what? Section 144, which we'll be doing maybe after the break. The Chartered Accountant Acts 1949 and the rules or regulations made under those acts. And second exception is commercial transactions which are in the ordinary course of business of the company at arm's length price, like sale of products or services to auditor as customer in the ordinary course of business by companies engaged in the business of telecom, airlines, hospital, hotels, and such other similar businesses. Is it clear? Is it clear? Quickly send in your replies. Then we will move on to clause number 5. So Nilabjo, is your doubt clear? Yes, ma'am, clear. That's one. Yes, mentioned. Shri Ram, is the concept clear now? You have mentioned to repeat this exception wala point. So is it clear? Shri Ram R. ठीक है. Now clause F. So, a person is not eligible to be appointed as an auditor of the company if the person whose relative, so CAX, whose relative, for simplification I am taking Mrs. X, otherwise father, mother, sister, brother, stepfather, stepmother, सब कुछ included है, is a director or KMP of the company. ठीक है. Now what is KMP? Let us just have a look. So clause 51 of section 2 defines KMP. That is, KMP can be what? CEO of the company, MD of the company or manager, company secretary, whole-time director, CFO, or such other person as may be prescribed. ठीक है. Is it clear? So it says that if Mrs. X is a director of A Limited or is one of the KMP, like let's say she is a manager in A Limited, then CAX is not eligible to be appointed as the auditor of the company. Is it clear? Point number F. Now point number G. It says a person is not eligible to be appointed as an auditor of the company if the person is in full-time employment elsewhere or is holding an appointment on the date of such appointment as auditor of more than 20 companies. Okay? So, I will explain this point, but first try to understand why this point. देखो अभी तक जितना भी किया आपने इंडिपेंडेंस का देखा ना कि इंडिपेंडेंस नहीं आएगा ना अगर वाइफ डायरेक्टर है उस कंपनी के लिए रिपोर्ट देना है तो सीए एक्स इंडिपेंडेंट रिपोर्ट अनबायस्ड रिपोर्ट नहीं दे पाएगा तो इंडिपेंडेंस थ्रेट टू इंडिपेंडेंस इज देयर है ना सेम भी अगर आपकी ट्रांजैक्शंस हैं है ना या आपका इंडेटनेस है या आपने गारंटी दी है तो समवेयर और द अदर देयर इज थ्रेट टू इंडिपेंडेंस ठीक है Now clause G. If you remember students, whenever we have discussed about auditing, Hana chapter 4 may I think I have referred to it. Otherwise in other chapters you must have seen that quality is to be maintained. Hana? And the resources that are available to a CA team, to an audit team is what the time and the resources. तो अगर CA के पास time ही नहीं है to devote to that particular audit engagement, he's already occupied somewhere else. So will he be in a position to give a quality work? No. So that is why this point is there that if a person is already in full-time employment somewhere else, he's working with a company full-time, he's fully occupied, then how can he be appointed as an auditor of the company? Okay? So he is a qualified chartered accountant. Let's say he's a certificate of practice also. Let's say. And he is employed somewhere else on a full-time basis. But he cannot devote his time. Time and team. These are the resources for an audit team. Hana? So if he is in full-time employment somewhere else or तो बेसिकली पॉइंट क्या है दैट द सीए इज ऑलरेडी ऑक्यूपाइड वो क्वालिटी वर्क दे ही नहीं सकता है वो एक्सपर्ट ओपिनियन दे ही नहीं सकता है तो पहला पॉइंट क्या है अगर ऑलरेडी कहीं पे अपॉइंटेड है इन फुल टाइम एम्प्लॉयमेंट है तो ही कैन नॉट बी अपॉइंटेड एज द स्टैट्यूटरी ऑडिटर ऑफ अ कंपनी ठीक है सेकंड a person or a partner of the firm is holding appointment as its partner on the date of such appointment in more than 20 companies. That is, अगर CAX हमने देखना है that whether CAX can be appointed as auditor of A Limited as on a particular date. So this clause says that on this date of appointment, if CAX is already holding statutory auditor of 20 companies, he cannot be appointed as the auditor of A Limited. Why? A Limited now. Why? Because he is already occupied with the 20 company का statutory audit. ठीक है? And this 20 limit is per CA, per auditor. So let's say if there is a CA firm having 3 partners, so in total 60 statutory audits can be taken. है ना? Because a person when he is a chartered accountant, he is a statutory audit of a company. So a limit has been set that quality तो चाहिए है ना काम की. तो 20 limit has been set that इससे ज़्यादा work मत लो, है ना? So if a person is in full-time employment elsewhere, or if he is already holding appointment in more than 20 companies on the date of appointment, जिस दिन A Limited को में appointment करना है, उस दिन CAX will consider कि मेरा appointment कितनी companies में है as a statutory auditor, कि कितने reports पे I have to sign, है ना? And I told you that this limit is per chartered accountant, ठीक है? Now when this 20 companies limit is to be calculated, then certain companies are not included. Then certain companies are not included while calculating the limit of 20 companies. What are those companies? Other than one person company, dormant company, small company, small company and private company having a paid up share capital of less than 100 crores. So there is no limit on the audit of this as such in the Companies Act 2013. So ye wala class of companies are not included when this 20 limit is to be calculated. Okay? Now, what is one-person company, dormant company, small company? You all must have done in your corporate law, but let us just have a quick look as to what all are these companies. Okay? So, what is one-person company? One-person company means a company which has only one person as a member. Okay? What are dormant company? So students, dormant company basically are the companies which do not have any business activity as such, and they are formed, they are registered for future projects or to hold an asset, and they are not having significant accounting transactions. So these are basically inactive companies and they can apply to the registrar to convert their status to what? Dormant company. तो जब उसमें कोई transaction ही नहीं है, तो कोई काम ही नहीं है, तो as such there is no burden on the auditor, na? So that is why these companies have been excluded when calculating the limit of 20 companies. Now, what are small companies? You all must have done this in your corporate law. So small company means a company other than a public company जिसका paid up share capital does not exceed 2 crores and turnover as per the P&L for the immediately preceding financial year does not exceed 20 crores. Or 2 crores and 20 crores, you must be aware that with effect from 1st April 21, these limits have been revised. Okay? So the small company are what? Companies other than public company having paid up share capital not exceeding 2 crores or turnover as per the P&L for the immediately preceding financial year not exceeding rupees 20 crores. Okay? And a small company can never be a holding or a subsidiary company. Section 8 companies are not small companies, and a company or body corporate governed by special act like your LIC. These are also not what? Small companies. Okay, so a brief idea. So these companies, small company, one-person company, dormant companies, and the private company having a paid-up share capital of less than rupees 100 crore, these have been excluded for calculating the limit of this 20 companies. Okay, so what is this clause G? And students will be discussing this point, clause G, that is section 141, subsection 3, clause G, in a separate topic with respect to ceiling on number of audits. कि कितना maximum number of audits the auditor can do. There I'll be taking up this topic again, but as of now try to understand कि हमें basically क्या देखना है. See, auditor है, statutory audit करना है. Audited financial statements पे a number of users are dependent on the audited financial statement to take their economic decisions. सो जो ओपिनियन आने चाहिए, एक्सपर्ट ओपिनियन आने चाहिए ना, टाइम तो हो प्रोफेशनल जजमेंट अप्लाई करने का. सो अ पर्सन हु इज इन फुल टाइम एम्प्लॉयमेंट एल्सवेयर या हु इज ऑलरेडी होल्डिंग अपॉइंटमेंट एज अ auditor or as a partner of a firm and he is holding the statutory audit of more than 20 companies, and these companies are not included. One person company, dormant company, small company, private company having a paid up share capital of less than 100 crores. And as I've told you, I'll be taking up this section again when it will come in your module. Is it clear? Quickly send in your replies. Is clause G till clause G, is it clear? So, Manoj, point number F talks about the relative only. ठीक है? And Manoj, regarding to your point, whether the partner is covered, see point number C. So, partner or employee of officer or employee. Clear, Manoj? These definitions, whatever I've shown you, are not to be as such learned by heart. These are shown for your understanding. ठीक है? So I have shown the definition of these: chartered accountant, officer, KMP, small company, one person, dormant, relative. These are for your understanding. ठीक है चारू? Is it clear? Manoj, is your doubt clear? Sriram, what is your query? If you can send it again. Pothina, Bindu, please explain your query again. So Sudhanshu, as per the definition of relative which is given, so these people, whatever you have mentioned, will not be covered. So students, tell me, is it clear? जितना भी अभी तक किया है till clause G. Is it clear? So Sriram, please send in your query again. So I'll do one thing. Till clause G, let us just quickly have a look at all the clauses, and then we will take a break. And after the break, we will start clause H and I. Okay? So what we have done so far, we started with section 141, which deals with eligibility, qualification, and disqualification of an auditor of a company. So subsection 1 says that a person is eligible only if he's a chartered accountant and a firm where the majority of the partners practicing in India qualified for appointment as aforesaid, then in the firm name the audit can be taken. Where a firm is appointed, just a minute. Where a firm is appointed, then only the CA partner are authorized to act and sign on behalf of the firm. Subsection 3 is about who all are not eligible and rule 10. So कहां पर आया rule 10? जहां पर भी mention है ना as may be prescribed, है ना? जैसे for example, just a minute. This rupees 5 lakhs is given in rule 10. Rupees 1 lakh is given in rule 10. ये है ना as may be prescribed business relationship rule 10. ठीक है? Clear? So body corporate other than LLP, officer or employee of the companies, then a person who is a partner or who is an employee of officer or employee of the company, then a person who himself or his relative or partner are having 3 types of transaction with the company or the holding or the subsidiary or the associate or the subsidiary of such holding. क्या ट्रांजैक्शन है? दे आर होल्डिंग एनी सिक्योरिटी पर रिलेटिव 1 लाख फेस वैल्यू तक होल्ड कर सकता है एंड 60 डेज का करेक्टिव पीरियड हैज बीन गिवन इन केस इट एक्सीड्स द थ्रेशोल्ड लिमिट ऑफ 1 लाख. लेकिन ये पार्टनर या ऑडिटर पे द पर्सन हिमसेल्फ सीए पे एप्लीकेबल नहीं. रिलेटिव क्या होता है? यू ऑल नो. देन इफ दे आर इंडेटेड टू द कंपनी और ये सारी चीजें सब्सिडियरी होल्डिंग एसोसिएट और सब्सिडियरी और सच होल्डिंग इन एक्सेस ऑफ रुपीज 5 lakhs, एक्सीडिंग रुपीज 5 lakhs है, एट 5 lakhs नहीं है. ठीक है? किसी का डाउट था? गारंटी दिया है थर्ड पर्सन के लिए एक्सीडिंग रुपीज 1 lakh. ठीक है? क्लॉज ई सेज इफ द पर्सन और द फर्म, अब रिलेटिव पार्टनर की बात नहीं कर रहे हैं, डायरेक्टली और इनडायरेक्टली हैज बिजनेस रिलेशनशिप विद द कंपनी, सब्सिडियरी, होल्डिंग एसोसिएट, सब्सिडियरी ऑफ होल्डिंग और एसोसिएट. बट बिजनेस रिलेशनशिप में क्या नहीं आएगा? अगर कमर्शियल ट्रांजैक्शंस इन द नेचर ऑफ permissible professional services, जो permitted services हैं under the CA Act or the Companies Act or the rules regulations made there under, या कोई भी transactions हैं which are in the ordinary course of the company and are provided to the auditor as a customer at the arm's length price. In case of telecom, airlines, hospitals, hotels, and such other similar businesses, if the person who is the relative, whose relative is what a director or is an employee as a director or KMP, or if a person is in full-time employment elsewhere or is already holding the appointment in more than 20 companies other than one-person companies, dormant companies, small companies, private companies having the paid-up share capital of less than rupees 100 crores. Okay? So I hope it is clear. So I'll do one thing. I'll take a break of 10 minutes here. After the break, we'll be starting with clause H. And meanwhile, you all can send all your queries. Sriram, I've received your query. I'll just have a look in the break, and after the break, we will discuss that. So students, please do send in your replies whether you have understood or not. And Sonika, I have not received your query. Please send it again. Okay? And in the break, please send in your replies whether you are understanding or not. And also send if you have any queries. So a quick break of 10 minutes and then we will restart. So students, I hope you all are back after the break. And in the break, many of you have sent certain queries. So let me just answer to these queries one by one. So Shreya Shah, with respect to your query, as and when we'll be discussing section 141, subsection 3, clause G in detail. With respect to ceiling or number of audits, your query will be solved there. Hiral is asking whether the word proviso is to be mentioned. So basically, students, many of you are asking whether the sections, the clauses, the term proviso, all these are to be learned and written in the examination. So see, the more you learn, like it is better if you learn more, है ना? So जितना आपसे learn हो सकता है, learn and write in the examination. Obviously, more understanding that you will show in the exam will fetch you more marks. ठीक है? So Hiral, if you are able to learn, then that is good. ठीक है? Then Siddharth. So Siddharth, your query with respect to loan by the company from the auditor. So such point as such is not covered. Anna? The point that is covered is indebtedness of the debt of the auditor or his relative. ठीक है? Nilabjo, I cannot see your query. ठीक है? And Sri Ram, with respect to your query, see the word that is used in clause E is directly or indirectly. है ना? So if the business relationship is direct or even if it is indirect through any other person, then also there will be ineligibility. So in the example that you have created on your own and sent to me, there will be ineligibility because indirectly business relationship are there. ठीक है? And Bindu Sai Lakshmi, yes, with respect to small company, the limit is 2 crores and 20 crores respectively with respect to paid up share capital and turnover, and that the same have been amended with effect from 1st April 2021. Okay? And if you want to have a look at the definition, I'll do one thing, I'll share that screen. Though in law, you must have done that in detail. So this is the section. Okay? Okay, so I hope, so yes, perfectly after 10 minutes, we are back. Okay, is it clear now, students? So shall we proceed further? So now we'll be starting with clause H. So person is ineligible to be appointed as an auditor of the company if that person is convicted, that is held guilty by the court of offense involving fraud, okay, and a period of 10 years have not elapsed. Okay? So if a person is convicted by a court of offense for involving a fraud, that the person has been convicted, he has been held guilty with respect to being involved in a fraud, and from the date of that conviction, a period of 10 years. So basically for 10 years, the person becomes ineligible to be appointed as an auditor of the company. Okay? So 10 years के लिए अगर the auditor has been convicted by the court of offense for a fraud, then he is not eligible to be appointed as an auditor of a company for a period of 10 years. Okay? Simple है. And here we are talking about the person. Okay? Then clause I, where we'll be discussing section 144 in detail. Okay? So if a person is directly or indirectly rendering any of the services as mentioned in section 144 to the company A Limited or its holding or its subsidiary, then that person in our example CAX is not eligible to be appointed as an auditor of the company. Okay? So let's say CAX is, let's say he is providing the bookkeeping services to A Limited. So can he be appointed as an auditor? No. Because very logical na, independence to hai nahi na, auditor jo CAX hai, he is himself making the books and he is checking the books. So will there be independence? Not at all. I always give example that if I give you your paper to check, आपने खुद वो पेपर किया है तो आप खुद उसको चेक करोगे तो कितने मार्क्स दोगे? 100 मार्क्स ना, या 70 मार्क्स दे दोगे, 80 मार्क्स दे दोगे, है ना? सो सेम वे with respect to these services, section 144 says that with respect to the mentioned services, if a person, that is the chartered accountant, if he is providing all these services to the company or its holding or its subsidiary, in that situation that person is not eligible to be appointed as the auditor of that company. Okay? So what are all those services? See, students, the term here used is directly or indirectly. So agar CAX is giving any of these services, let's say for simplicity bookkeeping, so if CAX is providing the bookkeeping services to A Limited, either by himself, वो खुद से कर रहा है, or through his relative, Mrs. X is also a CA, वो उनके थ्रू करवा रहा है, or any other firm where CAX is having a significant influence. So directly or indirectly अगर आप already कोई services provide कर रहे हो खुद से या through some other medium, then you are not eligible to be appointed as the auditor of the company. ठीक है? और किसको services दे रहे हो? या तो company को, या holding को, या subsidiary को. तो A लिमिटेड में CAX कैन नॉट बी अपॉइंटेड एज एन ऑडिटर. क्लियर? अब वो कौन कौन सी सर्विसेज है? देखो, इन ऑर्डर टू लर्न दिस सर्विसेज, इन ऑर्डर टू अंडरस्टैंड दिस सर्विसेज ना, जस्ट कीप वन थिंग इन माइंड कि यू कैन नॉट चेक योर ओन पेपर, है ना? जिस चीज को चेक करना है, अगर उसी में आपकी इन्वॉल्वमेंट है तो विल इट बी इंडिपेंडेंट, विल इट बी अनबाइस्ड? नो. विल इट बी ऑब्जेक्टिव? नो. ठीक है? So first and foremost, accounting and bookkeeping services. Whenever I start explaining the concept of audit, I always ask student as to who is responsible for preparation of financial statements, for the bookkeeping, for the accounting. The management. Management outsource करे या management खुद से करे, but auditor as such he is not responsible, है ना? Accounting and bookkeeping services. ठीक है? Internal audit. ठीक है? चैप्टर 4 में डिटेल में पढ़ा है ना आपने इंटरनल ऑडिट. तो अगर इंटरनल ऑडिट सर्विसेज आप ऑलरेडी दे रहे हो, सी इंटरनल ऑडिटर कैन बी एन एम्प्लॉय ऑफ द कंपनी और इट मे बी एन आउटसाइड फर्म. सो लेट्स से इफ A लिमिटेड हैज अपॉइंटेड द फर्म ऑफ CAX as internal auditor of the company, so they cannot be appointed as the statutory auditor of the company. Design and implementation of any financial information system, तो financial information system will generate the financial information ना, तो अगर आप उसी में involved हो तो you cannot be appointed as the statutory auditor of the company. Actuarial services, what are these services? So basically they relate to evaluation of financial impact of risk using various mathematical and statistical calculations tools. For example, in case of insurance company, what will be the financial impact of the risk? Developing various policies of insurance. So this is the work of the actuaries. So if you are providing the actuarial services to the client organization, you cannot be appointed as the auditor of the company. Investment advisory, if the CA is giving the services of investment advisory, investment consultancy as to where to invest, so he is giving recommendations to the company with respect to the investment options, he cannot be appointed as the auditor of the company. Investment banking, if a firm is giving the services to let's say A Limited with respect to raising of capital, the IPOs, the mergers, all those services, the financial consultancy, then that firm cannot be appointed as the auditor of the company. Rendering of outsourced financial services, the company has outsourced certain financial services and you are providing that, then cannot be appointed as the auditor of that company. Management services, see students, as management services has not been defined in the act. So let's say the HR function, let's say the other functions related to management services. So if these are being provided by the firm, then it cannot be appointed as the auditor of the company, and any other kind of services as may be prescribed. So what is the logic here? That if, again, just keep in mind, if you are checking your own paper, So many of you are saying that, ma'am, everyone will be AIR 1. That's good. Siddharth, why only 40 marks? खुद से पेपर चेक करना है तो अच्छे मार्क्स दो ना, एग्जामिशन तो लो. ठीक है, ठीक है. So here, if auditor, audit firm, or the CA is already involved in any of these services, then he cannot be appointed as the auditor of the company. ठीक है. So this was about what? Subsection 3 of section 141 of the Companies Act 2013. ठीक है. Now many of you were saying that, ma'am, if suppose CA X in our case is already the auditor of A Limited, ठीक है, and later on, let's say any disqualification is incurred. For example, let's say Mrs. X or let's say CA Y, he buys shares worth ₹100. Partner के case में तो there is no limit ना, as in no relaxation is there. So what will happen? See, in case any of the disqualifications that we have discussed above in subsection 3, if it is incurred after the appointment of the auditor, that is CAX in our case, he will immediately vacate the office as the auditor, and it will lead to a casual vacancy. Casual vacancy क्या होता है? We will be discussing this concept in section 139 subsection 8, but abhi ke liye try to understand that if an auditor vacates the office as an auditor before the expiry of the term, कि death हो गया है या resignation हो गया है या कोई भी disqualification इनकर हो गया है ना, so that is called casual vacancy. So अगर इसमें से कुछ भी हो जाता है ना, फॉर एग्जाम्पल कि 60 डेज बियॉन्ड 60 डेज भी मिसेज एक्स ने शेयर सेल नहीं किया है ना, तो ही शैल इमीडिएटली vacate the office as the auditor, and it will be a casual vacancy. Provisions of section 139 subsection 8 becomes applicable in that case. ठीक है. So where is this given? It is given in the last subsection of this section, that is subsection 4. So it says where a person appointed as an auditor of a company incurs any of the disqualification mentioned in subsection 3 after his appointment हो गया था. देखो इसको दो तरीके से समझ सकते हो ना, that when the person is to be appointed as an auditor, तो he'll see कि ऐसा तो नहीं है, ऐसा तो नहीं है, and if he has already been appointed, then also he'll keep on checking ना कि मैं disqualified तो नहीं हूँ, and if at all it happens, then he shall vacate his office as such auditor. Vacate खाली कर देंगे the office of auditor, and such vacation shall be deemed as casual vacancy in the office of the auditor. And I told you that casual vacancy के लिए section 139 subsection 8 देखेंगे कि कैसे fill होएगा casual vacancy. Clear? Is it clear? ठीक है. This example beautifully explains the entire concept of subsection 4. देखो क्या लिखा हुआ है. Mr. A chartered accountant, has been appointed as an auditor of Lakshman Limited in the AGM of the company held in September 2016, which assignment he accepted. He accepted that assignment. Subsequently, later on, मतलब appoint होने के बाद कुछ हुआ. In January 2017, he joined Mr. B, another chartered accountant who is manager finance of Lakshman Limited. ठीक है. So he joined Mr. B, ठीक है, who is an employee of the company. ठीक है. So कहां पर फॉल किया बिना देखे बताओ, कहां पर डिस्क्वालिफिकेशन अट्रैक्ट हुआ? So Bindu, as in when the auditor will he becomes aware about the disqualification, he'll immediately vacate the office of the auditor. ठीक है बिंदु. And quickly tell me कौन सा subsection of section 140, which clause is attracted here? So it is clause C. ठीक है. So what was clause C? So a person who is a partner of the officer employee, है ना. So who all were the persons here? Pausheen, है ना? नहीं, Mr. A is a chartered accountant. So Mr. A, इसका अपॉइंटमेंट देखना है. He is a partner of employee of the company. ठीक है. ये कार्तिक, जस्ट चेक योर आंसर. 144 कैसे आ गया यहाँ पर? 141 subsection 3 clause C of the Companies Act prescribes that any person who is a partner or who is employment of an officer or employee of the company. तो any person कौन हो जाएगा? Mr. A. अब वो किसका पार्टनर बन गया? ऑफिसर और एम्प्लॉय ऑफ द कंपनी विच इज Mr. B, who is a manager, है ना? Will be disqualified to act as an auditor of the company. Subsection 4 of section 141 provides that an auditor becomes subject after his appointment to any disqualification, मतलब subject to any disqualification specified in subsection 3 shall be deemed to have vacated his office as an auditor. Conclusion: in the present case, Mr. A, an auditor of Lakshman Limited, joined as partner with Mr. B, who is manager finance of Lakshman Limited, मतलब partner of the employee of the company. The given situation has attracted subsection 3 clause C of section 141, and therefore he shall be deemed to have vacated office of auditor of Lakshman Limited in accordance with subsection 4 of section 141. ठीक है? Is it clear? Karthik, is it clear? हाँ, तो कार्तिक has now answered it. नहीं, कार्तिक, check your answer again. Meghna, you are right. Prabhas is right. Nilabjo is right. Thakur, Smita is right. Gehani, you are right. And Ban Reddy, with respect to these sections, Hana, you will have to go through the module once or twice. Then only you will be able to learn. See, these are what law. This is a law-based chapter. हाँ, तो लॉ में जो लिखा है वो you will have to understand and learn it ना. ठीक है? So is it clear, students? So with this we have finished section 141. I'll quickly take you through this entire section and then we'll start with section 139. ठीक है? So section 141 कैसे है? और ऐसे ही लर्न करो, यू विल बी एबल टू लर्न इट वेरी क्विकली. देखो 141 क्या है? डील्स विद एलिजिबिलिटी, क्वालिफिकेशन, डिस्क्वालिफिकेशन ऑफ एन ऑडिटर. सो 4 सबसेक्शंस है. सबसेक्शन 1 क्या कहता है? दैट अ पर्सन इज एलिजिबल ओनली इफ ही इज अ चार्टर्ड अकाउंटेंट. और अगर फॉर्म को अपॉइंट करना है, देन मेजॉरिटी ऑफ द पार्टनर्स प्रैक्टिसिंग इन इंडिया शुड बी व्हाट? शुड बी चार्टर्ड अकाउंटेंट्स. सो बेसिकली मल्टी डिसिप्लिनरी फॉर्म की बात कर रहा है, जहां अलग अलग टाइप के आपके प्रोफेशनल्स होते हैं. तो मेजॉरिटी ऑफ द फॉर्म्स, मोर देन 50% शुड बी व्हाट? सीए. ठीक है? किसी का डाउट था रिलेटिंग टू दिस? आई होप इट इज क्लियर. सेकंड सबसेक्शन, इट सेज कि एलएलपी फॉर्म अपॉइंट हो सकता है, वहां पर ओनली द सीए पार्टनर्स, द पार्टनर्स हु आर चार्टर्ड अकाउंटेंट, दे आर ऑथराइज्ड टू साइन एंड एक्ट ऑन बिहाफ ऑफ द फर्म एज ऑडिटर्स. ठीक है? सबसेक्शन 3 को किसके साथ हम रीड कर रहे हैं? रूल 10 ऑफ द कंपनीज ऑडिट एंड ऑडिटर रूल्स 2014. तो 9 क्लॉजेज हैं. पहला क्या कहता है? दीज आर नॉट एलिजिबल. कौन कौन? फर्स्ट इज body corporate other than LLP. Second is officer employee of the company. Third is partner or employee of officer or employee. मतलब B का partner या employee हो. ठीक है? D वाला clause की further 3 points है, जहां ये D clause start किससे होता है? Relative, the person himself or his relative or partner. Just keep in mind example of CAX, his wife and CAY. है ना? तो पर्सन हिमसेल्फ और हिज रिलेटिव और पार्टनर क्या करते हैं? 3 चीजें करते हैं. किसमें? या तो कंपनी में, या सब्सिडरी में, या होल्डिंग में, या एसोसिएट में, या सब्सिडरी ऑफ होल्डिंग में. क्या क्या करते हैं? एनी सिक्योरिटी होल्ड करते हैं. ठीक है? लेकिन रिलेटिव 1 लाख फेस वैल्यू तक कर सकता है, मार्केट वैल्यू नहीं है, फेस वैल्यू है. और अगर एक्सीड करता है तो 60 डेज का ग्रेस पीरियड दिया है करेक्टिव एक्शन लेने के लिए फ्रॉम द डेट ऑफ एक्विजिशन. ये सब कुछ किस पे एप्लीकेबल नहीं है? रिलेटिव या ऑडिटर, द सीए हिमसेल्फ. तो उनके केस में तो इवन अ सिक्योरिटी ऑफ वेरी लेस अमाउंट, 100 रुपए का, 1 रुपए का, 10 रुपए का, विल लीड टू इनएलिजिबिलिटी. क्लियर? ये तीनों लोग क्या करते हैं? दे आर इंडेटेड टू द कंपनी. वो आई विल नॉट रिपीट क्योंकि वो सब सेम है. कंपनी, सब्सिडरी, होल्डिंग, एसोसिएट, सब्सिडरी ऑफ सच होल्डिंग. कितना? एक्सेस ऑफ 5 लाख. या जिन्होंने गारंटी दिया, इन्हीं तीनों लोगों ने गारंटी दिया है, या सिक्योरिटी, इंडेटनेस ऑफ ए थर्ड पार्टी, एक्सेस ऑफ ₹1 लाख. क्लियर? ई क्लॉज क्या कहता है, या तो अब वो रिलेटिव वगैरह नहीं है, अब हम क्या कह रहे हैं, पर्सन या फर्म डायरेक्टली या इनडायरेक्टली बिजनेस रिलेशनशिप रखता है किसके साथ, सब कुछ सेम है बट एक एक्स्ट्रा है, और एसोसिएट कंपनी, सब्सिडियरी ऑफ एसोसिएट कंपनी, ठीक है। ऑफ सच नेचर एज में बी प्रेस्क्राइब, प्रेस्क्राइब कहा गया है रूल्स में कि ये क्या होता है, एनी ट्रांजैक्शन ऑफ, ये मतलब बिजनेस रिलेशनशिप मीन्स एनी ट्रांजैक्शन एंटर्ड इनटू फॉर अ कमर्शियल पर्पस, बट क्या नहीं आएगा, जहां सीए रेंडर कर रहा है प्रोफेशनल परमिटेड सर्विसेज, परमिटेड कहां पर, सीए एक्ट में, कंपनीज एक्ट में, या रूल्स एंड रेगुलेशंस मेड देयर अंडर में, या कमर्शियल ट्रांजैक्शन जो ऑर्डिनरी कोर्स ऑफ बिजनेस ऑफ द क्लाइंट है, आर्म्स लेंथ प्राइस पे है, एज अ कस्टमर है, इन टेलीकॉम, एयरलाइन, होटल, हॉस्पिटल्स एंड सच अदर सिमिलर बिजनेसेस, ठीक है। एफ में क्या कहता है, अगर रिलेटिव क्या है, डायरेक्टर है या केएमपी है, अगर पर्सन हिमसेल्फ ऑक्यूपाइड है, जी वाला पॉइंट क्या कहता है, ऑक्यूपाइड है, कैसे, या तो फुल टाइम एम्प्लॉयमेंट में है, या वो ऑलरेडी मोर देन 20 कंपनीज का स्टैट्यूटरी ऑडिट होल्ड कर रहे हैं, एंड इस 20 की लिमिट में क्या इंक्लूड नहीं करना है, 1% कंपनी, डॉर्मेंट कंपनी, स्मॉल कंपनी, या प्राइवेट कंपनी हैविंग पेड अप शेयर कैपिटल ऑफ लेस देन 100 crores, ठीक है। A person who has been convicted by the court of offense involving a fraud and a period of 10 years has not elapsed, अगर 10 साल पूरे हो चुके हैं, 11th year में तो can be appointed as an auditor, but 10 years नहीं हुआ है तो from the date of that conviction he is not eligible. एंड लास्ट, अगर कोई भी सर्विसेज डायरेक्टली या इनडायरेक्टली रेंडर करते हैं, सेक्शन 144 की, डायरेक्टली इनडायरेक्टली को यहाँ पे एक्सप्लेन किया है, विच वी हैव डिस्कस कि इधर बाय हिमसेल्फ या रिलेटिव के थ्रू, या किसी भी फॉर्म में जहां पे आपका सिग्निफिकेंट सीएक्स का सिग्निफिकेंट इन्फ्लुएंस हो रहा है, तो उसके थ्रू भी करोगे, किसको, कंपनी को, सब्सिडरी को, या होल्डिंग को, यहाँ पे तीन चीजें हैं, कंपनी, होल्डिंग, सब्सिडरी, तो इनएलिजिबिलिटी आ जाएगा सेक्शन 144। अच्छा, एक पॉइंट यहाँ रह गया, इट सेज दैट, देखो प्रोहिबिटेड सर्विसेज तो आपको देना ही नहीं है ऑडिटर को, अगर स्टैट्यूटरी ऑडिट के अलावा भी कोई सर्विस देना है, फॉर एग्जांपल टैक्स ऑडिट, टैक्स ऑडिट यहाँ नहीं है ना, इट इज परमिटेड, ठीक है, तो क्या इट विल बी अप्रूव्ड बाय बोर्ड ऑफ डायरेक्टर्स और ऑडिट कमिटी, ठीक है। तो ऑडिट कमिटी क्या होता है, सेक्शन 177 में हम डिटेल में पढ़ेंगे, अभी के लिए जस्ट ट्राई टू अंडरस्टैंड, अप्रूवल चाहिएगा बोर्ड ऑफ डायरेक्टर का और द ऑडिट कमिटी, ठीक है। कौन कौन से सर्विसेज prohibited and the CA is not allowed, cannot render these services directly or indirectly, किसको, कंपनी को भी, होल्डिंग को भी, सब्सिडरी को भी, अकाउंट्स, बुक कीपिंग, इंटरनल ऑडिट, डिजाइन इम्प्लीमेंटेशन ऑफ फाइनेंशियल इंफॉर्मेशन सिस्टम, एक्चुरियल सर्विसेज, इन्वेस्टमेंट से रिलेटेड दो है, एडवाइजरी एंड बैंकिंग, आउटसोर्स फाइनेंशियल सर्विसेज, मैनेजमेंट एंड एनी अदर सर्विसेज, ठीक है, क्लियर है। अगर कोई भी डिस्क्वालिफिकेशन अट्रैक्ट हो जाता है, आफ्टर इनकर हो जाता है, द वर्ड यूज इन इनकर इज व्हाट, अट्रैक्ट होता है, आफ्टर ही इज बिकम द after the appointment as an auditor, then the auditor, he shall vacate his office as auditor and such vacation shall be deemed as casual vacancy in the office of the auditor. तो देखो ऐसे रिवाइज करना है, अब बताओ किसको क्या डाउट है। And obviously students, you will not be asked to write this entire section 141, है ना, कि चारों क्लॉजेस, चारों सबसेक्शंस लिख दो, है ना, बट हाँ इंडिविजुअली, एंड इनफैक्ट अब तो आपको पता है ना क्या है, फर्स्ट में क्या है, कौन एलिजिबल है, सेकंड में फॉर्म की बात होती है, थर्ड में डिस्क्वालिफिकेशन की बात होती है, और फोर्थ में किसकी बात होती है कि अगर लेटर ऑन वो हो जाए, क्या हो जाए, डिस्क्वालिफिकेशन इनकर हो जाए, ठीक है, तो क्या प्रॉब्लम है, नहीं, सेक्शन 144 में टैक्स ऑडिट नहीं है ना, टैक्स ऑडिट परमिटेड है ना, देखो हीरल, इज इट क्लियर। See, Karthik. So, see Karthik, आप ये बताओ, इस वाले एग्जाम्पल में स्टूडेंट्स 144 क्यों नहीं आया, बिकॉज यहाँ पर कोई सर्विस नहीं है ना, ही इज अ मैनेजर फाइनेंस, है ना, तो कोई सर्विस थोड़ी ना मेंशन की हुई है। क्लियर कार्तिक, ही इज अ मैनेजर फाइनेंस, मतलब एम्प्लॉय ऑफ द कंपनी है, तो उसका पार्टनर अगर मिस्टर ए बन जाता है, तो सेक्शन 141 सबसेक्शन 3 क्लॉज सी गेट्स अट्रैक्टेड हियर। इज इट क्लियर कार्तिक? इसमें से आप बताओ ना, सेक्शन 144 का कौन सा सर्विस आपको लग रहा है अट्रैक्ट हो रहा है? मैनेजर बना है ना, वो एम्प्लॉय बना है कंपनी का, ठीक है। सो हीरल इज सेइंग मैम, थिंग्स, ऑल थिंग्स आर क्रिस्टल क्लियर, Gehani, Charu are saying okay ma'am, clear. ठीक है students, others also please send in your replies. Is it clear? Now can we proceed to section 139, another important section. कहीं से भी क्वेश्चन आ सकता है, पूरा चैप्टर इज वेरी वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट. So Manoj, as such, no other services has been prescribed so far. ठीक है. So section 139. ठीक है. So we have covered one of the section that is section 141 relating to eligibility, qualification and disqualification of auditors. ठीक है. और रिवाइज कैसे करना है, ऐसे कि 4 सबसेक्शंस हैं, पहले में क्या है, दूसरे में क्या है, थर्ड एंड फोर्थ. सो बेन रेड्डी हैज गिवन द परमिशन, प्रोसीड. So Karthik, it might be possible na that any management services has been outsourced, है ना? Clear? So maybe it is an LLP, है ना? तो secretarial services भी firm के पास हैं. ठीक है. Now section 139. Clear, Karthik? So section 139, it is about appointment of auditor. समझ तो आ गया कि who all are eligible, है ना? पर how to appoint an auditor? For how long to appoint an auditor? एक ही auditor रहता है क्या हमेशा, है ना? कैसे appoint करना है? So all these provisions are contained in section 139. ठीक है. Before starting with section 139, let us just discuss two concepts here. Two concepts here. That is, what is a government company and who is Comptroller and Auditor General, CAG. ठीक है. Why? Because when we'll be discussing section 139, see there are 11 subsections. 141 में कितने थे, 4 सबसेक्शन थे. 139 में there are 11 subsections. अभी we'll be discussing as in the sequence that is given in the module, and then I'll summarize all the 11 subsections. ठीक है. So this appointment part in the module, it has been divided in, basically it has been divided into 4 parts. कैसे? फर्स्ट ऑडिटर को कैसे अपॉइंट करना है, सब्सिक्वेंट ऑडिटर को कैसे अपॉइंट करना है, फर्स्ट ऑडिटर को गवर्नमेंट कंपनी में कैसे अपॉइंट करना है, अदर देन गवर्नमेंट कंपनी में कैसे अपॉइंट करना है, सेम वे सब्सिक्वेंट ऑडिटर को गवर्नमेंट कंपनी में कैसे अपॉइंट करना है, एंड अदर देन गवर्नमेंट कंपनी में कैसे अपॉइंट करना है. ठीक है. Clear? So Manoj, no, your query, the answer to this is no, because this is what bookkeeping and bookkeeping में तो आ गया ना ये. ठीक है. Is it clear, Manoj? ठीक है. So first auditor, subsequent auditor, गवर्नमेंट कंपनी, अदर कंपनी, गवर्नमेंट कंपनी, अदर कंपनी. ठीक है. तो उसके लिए फर्स्ट लेट अस ट्राई टू अंडरस्टैंड व्हाट इज मेंट बाय गवर्नमेंट कंपनी, एंड द डेफिनेशन ऑफ गवर्नमेंट कंपनी इज गिवन इन क्लॉज 45 of section 2 to the Companies Act. ठीक है. So government company is a company in which not less than 51% of the paid up share capital is held by either the central government or by state government or by state governments, or partly by central and partly by one or more of the state governments, and it includes a company which is a subsidiary company of a government company. Simple. A government company is a company in which not less than 51% of the paid up share capital is held by CG or SG or SGs, or partly by CG or partly by one or more of the SGs, and includes subsidiary of the government company. Simple, fair enough. Simple है बहुत. ठीक है. So this is what a government company. ठीक है. Other than government company में जो आपका business purpose companies हैं, we'll be talking about all those traditional companies. ठीक है. Now, who is CAG? Quickly send in your replies, and if anyone is aware as to who is the current CAG. Comptroller. The word is Comptroller and Auditor General of India. It is not Controller, though the meaning is Controller only, but the word is Comptroller and Auditor General. Quickly send in your replies. कौन होता है Comptroller and Auditor General of India? Send in your reply, students. So Karthik is saying clear, Manoj is saying clear. Sonika, your query I'll be taking up in the next session because as such detailed discussion is not required in this topic, but I'll take up this query in the next session. Quickly send in your replies. Comptroller and Auditor General of India. Government company to pata chal gaya that not less than 51% of the paid up share capital has been held by CG or SG or SGs or partly by CG, SG and includes subsidiary of a government company. So सबने Google करके लिख तो दिया है. गिरीश चंद्र मुर्मू 14th CAG है ना. So see students, who is CAG? So CAG is an independent constitutional authority and it audits the receipts and expenditure of the government of India, the state government or any of the corporates or bodies which are financed by the government. तो उनका ऑडिट कौन करता है? उनके रिसीट्स एक्सपेंडिचर का, स्टेट गवर्नमेंट का या एनी ऑफ द बॉडीज विच आर फाइनेंस्ड बाय द गवर्नमेंट. सीएजी इट इज एन इंडिपेंडेंट कॉन्स्टिट्यूशनल बॉडी. कौन अपॉइंट करता है सीएजी को? द प्रेसिडेंट ऑफ आवर कंट्री. ठीक है, ठीक है. सो विद रिस्पेक्ट टू गवर्नमेंट कंपनीज यू विल सी दैट सीएजी प्लेज अ वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट रोल इन द अपॉइंटमेंट ऑफ द ऑडिटर. सीएजी खुद से तो सबको ऑडिट नहीं कर सकते हैं ना, वो किसी को अपॉइंट करते हैं ना, है ना. सो व्हेन वील बी डिस्कसिंग सेक्शन 139 यू विल सी दैट विद रिस्पेक्ट टू अपॉइंटमेंट ऑफ द ऑडिटर ऑफ अ गवर्नमेंट कंपनी, बी इट फर्स्ट ऑडिटर सब्सिक्वेंट ऑडिटर, सीएजी विल प्ले अ वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट रोल. ठीक है. तो फॉर सेक्शन 139 ये दो कंसेप्ट्स थे, दैट इज गवर्नमेंट कंपनी क्या होता है एंड सीएजी हु इज सीएजी. ठीक है. Now let us start with section 139 and first auditor. So who is the first auditor? The auditor who is appointed in the first year after the registration of the company. जो auditor appoint होगा उसको बोलते हैं first auditor. And after the first auditor, whoever is appointed as the auditor, they are what? Subsequent auditors. Subsequent बाद में किसके? To the first auditor. तो फर्स्ट ऑडिटर का कैसे अपॉइंटमेंट होगा एंड सब्सिक्वेंट ऑडिटर का कैसे अपॉइंटमेंट होगा? फर्दर बाइफिकेटेड एज गवर्नमेंट कंपनी में कैसे होगा, अदर देन गवर्नमेंट कंपनीज में कैसे होगा. सो 4 बाइफिकेशंस आर देयर व्हिच कवर्स 4 सेक्शन. तो first we'll be discussing about first auditor. So section 139 subsection 6 and section 139 subsection 7. I told you there are in total 11 subsections in section 139. We will be discussing all the subsections and then at the end I'll be summarizing all the subsections, the entire section 139 in a sequence. Or we can do one thing, I'll just show it to you. So just a moment. See, this is the entire section 139. Are you able to see all the subsections? So section 139 is the name of the section is what? Appointment of auditor. So Karthik, it is an independent constitutional authority. है ना? Same like you have answered it correctly. Like a post is there. ठीक है? Subsection, there are 11 subsections. Is my screen visible? I'll do one thing. I'll increase the size. So subsection 1 deals with appointment of subsequent auditor by company other than government company. Just a moment. ठीक है. Subsection 2 deals with term of auditor. Subsection 3 and 4 deals with rotation of auditor. Subsection 5 deals with appointment of subsequent auditor in government company. Subsection 6 deals with appointment of first auditor by company other than government company. Subsection 7 is appointment of first auditor by government company. Subsection 8 is casual vacancy. Subsection 9 and 10 deals with reappointment of retiring auditor. And subsection 11 says that जहां पर भी audit committee होगा, there the recommendation of audit committee will be considered by the board of directors. That's it. ठीक है? So इस summary को we'll again do once we have covered our section 139. ठीक है? So we are discussing about appointment of first auditor in case of a company other than a government company. ठीक है? So section 139 subsection 6 की company register हो गया, तो उसके बाद the appointment of first auditor will be made by the board of directors. The responsibility has been given to whom? Board of directors. Within 30 days of the date of registration of the company. ठीक है? In case of failure that board of director is unable to appoint an auditor, then the board of director will inform the members who shall then appoint the first auditor in EGM, extraordinary general meeting, within the next 90 days. तो पहले 30 days का टाइम पीरियड किसको दिया? बोर्ड ऑफ डायरेक्टर्स को. बोर्ड ऑफ डायरेक्टर्स अपॉइंट नहीं कर पाते 30 days फ्रॉम द डेट ऑफ रजिस्ट्रेशन ऑफ द कंपनी. बोर्ड ऑफ डायरेक्टर्स अपॉइंट नहीं कर पाते, किसको इन्फॉर्म करेंगे? मेंबर्स को. Who shall appoint the first auditor by convening an extraordinary general meeting within the next 90 days. ठीक है? ठीक है? Clear है? And the auditor so appointed as first auditor, he shall hold office till the conclusion of the first AGM. Till the conclusion of, just a minute. ये S नहीं होगा इधर, ठीक है? Just like that. He shall hold office till the conclusion of the first AGM. देखो डेट रजिस्ट्रेशन हुआ कंपनी का, 30 days के अंदर बोर्ड ऑफ डायरेक्टर्स को अपॉइंट करना है. बोर्ड ऑफ डायरेक्टर्स अपॉइंट नहीं कर पाते, नेक्स्ट 90 days के अंदर मेंबर्स अपॉइंट कर देंगे EGM में. और कब तक होल्ड करेगा? जब भी उस ईयर की, फर्स्ट ईयर की जब भी AGM होगी, till the conclusion, till that date, जब तक first AGM हो रही है, till the conclusion of the first AGM, the first auditor will hold the office as an auditor, first auditor of that company. Clear है? तो हमने basically क्या बोला? कंपनी रजिस्टर हो गया है, फर्स्ट ऑडिटर, फर्स्ट ईयर की बात हो रही है ना, फर्स्ट ईयर आफ्टर द रजिस्ट्रेशन, 30 days का टाइम दिया है बोर्ड ऑफ डायरेक्टर्स को. नहीं कर पाता है तो नेक्स्ट 90 days के अंदर, लाइक बोर्ड ऑफ डायरेक्टर्स विल इन्फॉर्म द members and they will appoint the auditor in the EGM within the next 90 days, and such auditor will hold the office till the conclusion of the first AGM. Clear है? Simple है? ठीक है? Now with respect to the appointment of first auditor in case of a government company as defined under section 245. तो 245 में क्या define होता है ये तो अब आपको पता है ना. Not less than 51% of the paid up share capital is held by either SG, CG, SG and include CG and SG and include any of the subsidiary of the government company. ठीक है? I told you that CAG plays a very important role here. So पहले किसको बोला गया है? CAG को, that within 60 days of the date of registration appoint an auditor. If CAG is unable, then within the next 30 days the responsibility has been given to board of directors. If board of directors also fail तो 60 days, तो ये तो 90 ही रहेगा. ठीक है? Like this. ठीक है? So basically 30 days में CAG has to appoint, if 60 days. CAG has to appoint. If CAG is unable, then board of directors. If board of directors is unable to appoint the auditor, so members will call extraordinary general meeting within the next 60 days to appoint the first auditor. And again, such auditor will hold the office till the conclusion of the first AGM. Clear है? Is it clear? First auditor का. So गवर्नमेंट कंपनी में क्या है, 60 days प्लस 30 days किसको दिया, बोर्ड ऑफ डायरेक्टर्स को, प्लस 60 days किसको दिया, मेंबर्स इन दी एजीएम को. क्लियर है? और यहां पर क्या है, 30 days बोर्ड ऑफ डायरेक्टर्स को दिया एंड देन दी फर्दर 90 days. इज इट क्लियर? ठीक है. सो लेट अस जस्ट हैव अ लुक एट दिस फ्रॉम द मॉड्यूल. अपॉइंटमेंट ऑफ फर्स्ट ऑडिटर. In case of a company other than government company, section 139 subsection 6, the first auditor of the company other than a government company shall be appointed by board of directors within 30 days from the date of registration of the company. In case of failure of the board to appoint the auditor, it shall inform the members of the company. Members को inform किया, members अब क्या करेंगे, the members of the company shall within 90 days at an extraordinary general meeting, AGM तो बाद में होना है ना, तो extraordinary general meeting call करेंगे to appoint the auditor, and such appointed auditor shall hold office till the conclusion of the first AGM. ठीक है. Quickly go through this case study. Managing director of Pigeon Limited himself wants to appoint CA Champ, a practicing chartered accountant, as first auditor of the company. Is it right or not or wrong? Managing director appoint करना चाह रहे हैं alone. He wants to appoint the auditor of first auditor of the company. Quickly send in your replies. Karthik, Siddharth, Meghna, Ben Reddy are saying, ma'am, it is clear. Now send in your replies with respect to this case study, which is coming on page number 10.12. 11. I'm waiting for your replies, students. ठीक है भाई, because board of directors should appoint. Conclusion of AGM, जब AGM खत्म हो जाता है, ठीक है. सिद्धार्थ, ठाकुर, स्मिता, हीरल, बैन रेड्डी, बिंदु, कार्तिक, all are correct. So why? Because board of directors को बोला गया है ना, the managing director of Pigeon Limited should be advised not to appoint. Why? Because here the reason is mentioned by himself. It is in violation of section 139 subsection 6 of the Companies Act, which authorizes the board of director to appoint the first auditor of the company. ठीक है, ठीक है, ठीक है. अपॉइंटमेंट ऑफ फर्स्ट ऑडिटर इन केस ऑफ गवर्नमेंट कंपनी. सो गवर्नमेंट कंपनी क्या होता है ये आपको पता है. नाउ एज पर सेक्शन 139 सबसेक्शन 7, the first auditor shall be appointed by CAG, Comptroller and Auditor General of India within 60 days from the date of registration of the company. In case CAG does not appoint such auditor within the said period, that is 60 days में नहीं कर पाता, board of directors shall appoint the auditor within the next 30 days. Further, in case of failure of the board to appoint such auditor within the next 30 अब आ रही है. ठीक है. So students, now I think I am audible. Case study, page number 10.12 we were discussing. ठीक है. Page number 10.12 case study. I think I got muted by mistake. So I was discussing this case study. So please go through it and send in your replies. Send in your replies fast. See, it is a government company. तो बोर्ड ऑफ डायरेक्टर्स को देख के ये मत सोचना कि ठीक है फर्स्ट ऑडिटर तो बोर्ड ऑफ डायरेक्टर्स अपॉइंट करते हैं. इन केस ऑफ अ गवर्नमेंट कंपनी किसको बोला गया है? सीएजी को. ठीक है. So quickly send in your replies. ठीक है. So see, in case of Bharatiya Petrol Limited being a government company, the first auditor shall be appointed by the Comptroller and Auditor General of India. Thus, appointment of first auditor made by Board of Directors of Bharatiya Petrol Limited is null and void. Clear? So, section 139, subsection 6 and 7, we have covered. ठीक है. Now, with respect to subsequent auditor क्या होता है? First auditor क्या होता है? First year of registration incorporation of the company में जो भी ऑडिटर अपॉइंट होता है फॉर द फर्स्ट ईयर, सो दैट इज फर्स्ट ऑडिटर. ऑडिटर आफ्टर फर्स्ट ऑडिटर इज कॉल्ड व्हाट? सब्सिक्वेंट ऑडिटर. सो सब्सिक्वेंट ऑडिटर को कौन अपॉइंट करता है? अगेन वी विल डिस्कस इट एज फॉर गवर्नमेंट कंपनी एंड फॉर अदर देन गवर्नमेंट कंपनी. ठीक है. सो हियर व्हाट विल डू, फर्स्ट विल डिस्कस अबाउट गवर्नमेंट कंपनी. ठीक है. So again, government company defined under section 2 clause 45. You all know what is now a government company. Section 139 subsection 5 contains the provision with respect to appointment of subsequent auditor of a government company. So as I have told you that CAG plays a very important role in the appointment of auditor with respect to government company. So here appointment by CAG within 180 days from the commencement of the year. The year commences, so within the 180 days time period, the CAG needs to appoint. And the auditor so appointed, he shall hold office till the conclusion of the AGM. जिस साल के लिए आपने अपॉइंट किया, within 180 days आपने अपॉइंट किया, उसके बाद जो भी AGM होएगा, till that AGM, the auditor, the subsequent auditor will hold the office as an auditor. ठीक है? Clear? हाँ चारू, you can always write that. Students, tell me, ये वाला section 139 subsection 5, is it clear that with respect to appointment of subsequent auditor, the CAG will appoint the subsequent auditor within 180 days from the date of commencement of the year, and the auditor so appointed will hold office till the conclusion of the AGM. जो भी next AGM आएगा वहां तक office hold करेंगे. तो Ban Reddy is saying, ma'am, it is clear. Charu, I hope your doubt is clear. Meghna, you are correct. Rahul, you are also correct. Hitesh is correct. Akshay is correct. So tell me, is section 139 subsection 6, 7 and 5 clear? Quickly send in your replies, because before completing the session for today, I need to complete section 139 subsection 1 also. Yes, Rahul, you are correct. So Ban Reddy, Smitha, Meghna, Sonika and Charu are saying, ma'am, it is clear. ठीक है. Now with respect to appointment of subsequent auditor with respect to company other than the government company. ठीक है. Other than government company. So what is the section? Section 139 subsection 1. Subsection 6 और 7 किससे डील करते हैं? फर्स्ट ऑडिटर. सबसेक्शन 6 है फर्स्ट ऑडिटर ऑफ कंपनी अदर देन गवर्नमेंट कंपनी. सबसेक्शन 7 किस लिए है? फर्स्ट ऑडिटर ऑफ गवर्नमेंट कंपनी. सेक्शन 139 सबसेक्शन 5 किससे डील करता है? अपॉइंटमेंट ऑफ सब्सिक्वेंट ऑडिटर ऑफ ए गवर्नमेंट कंपनी. एंड सबसेक्शन 1 किससे डील करता है? अपॉइंटमेंट ऑफ सब्सिक्वेंट ऑडिटर ऑफ अदर देन ए गवर्नमेंट कंपनी. ठीक है. नाउ देखो, फर्स्ट ऑडिटर के लिए बोर्ड ऑफ डायरेक्टर्स को रिस्पॉन्सिबल किया गया है विद रिस्पेक्ट टू अदर देन गवर्नमेंट कंपनी. एंड इन केस ऑफ फेलियर 90 डेज के अंदर कौन अपॉइंट करेगा? मेंबर्स. फर्स्ट ऑडिटर डन. ठीक है। विथ रिस्पेक्ट टू सब्सिक्वेंट ऑडिटर, एवरी सब्सिक्वेंट ऑडिटर, आई टोल्ड यू कि एक ही ऑडिटर थोड़ी ना सालों साल चलता रहेगा, कितने टर्म के लिए अपॉइंट होता है वो भी सेक्शन 139 में दिया हुआ है, सबसेक्शन 2 में, ठीक है, रोटेशन ऑफ ऑडिटर, तो वो भी हम डिस्कस करेंगे। पर जब भी अब सब्सिक्वेंट ऑडिटर अपॉइंट होगा, सब्सिक्वेंट ऑडिटर इज व्हाट, हु इज ऑडिटर हु इज नॉट द फर्स्ट ऑडिटर बेसिकली, ठीक है, इन सिंपल लैंग्वेज। तो जब भी सब्सिक्वेंट ऑडिटर होएगा, इट the auditor, subsequent auditor of a company other than the government company will be appointed by members in the AGM. AGM में members appoint करेंगे, क्लियर, सिंपल है। मेंबर्स को ड्यूटी दिया है, फर्स्ट ऑडिटर के लिए बोर्ड ऑफ डायरेक्टर्स को है, जिसको अगर वो नहीं कर पाते तो 90 डेज में मेंबर्स के पास जाना है, मेंबर्स को पहले इन्फॉर्म करना है, मेंबर्स विद इन 90 डेज अपॉइंट कर देंगे। नाउ विद रिस्पेक्ट टू सब्सिक्वेंट ऑडिटर ऑफ अदर देन गवर्नमेंट कंपनी, सेक्शन 139 सबसेक्शन 1 क्या कहता है, द अपॉइंटमेंट शैल बी मेड बाय मेंबर्स इन द एजीएम, ठीक है। एंड देखो स्टूडेंट्स, यहां पर हमने क्या पढ़ा था, दैट गवर्नमेंट कंपनी के केस में 180 डेज में सीएजी अपॉइंट करेगा, और जो भी ऑडिटर अपॉइंट होगा ही शैल होल्ड ऑफिस टिल द एजीएम, जो भी नेक्स्ट एजीएम आएगा, ठीक है। बट हियर द ऑडिटर सो अपॉइंटेड, इस वाले सपोज दिस इज द फर्स्ट एजीएम, यहां पर अपॉइंट हुआ है, ही शैल होल्ड ऑफिस टिल द सिक्स्थ एजीएम सब्जेक्ट टू फुलफिलमेंट ऑफ सर्टेन कंडीशंस। ये फर्स्ट एजीएम में अपॉइंट किया, सेकेंड, थर्ड, फोर्थ, फिफ्थ एंड सिक्स्थ एजीएम, यहां तक ही विल होल्ड द ऑफिस। So first AGM में the auditor will get appointed and he shall hold office till the conclusion of sixth AGM. तो देखो how many years? For 1 year, 2 year, 3 year, 4 years and 5 years. है ना? ठीक है। So with respect to subsequent auditor of other than government company, there is provision contained in section 139 subsection 1 which says that the appointment of subsequent auditor shall be made by members in the AGM. और जिस AGM में अपॉइंट किया ना उसको फर्स्ट AGM कंसीडर करेंगे, ठीक है। एंड वहां से with counting from there till 6th AGM the subsequent auditor is going to hold the office, that is कितने ईयर हो गए, दिस इज द फर्स्ट एजीएम, जहां पर अपॉइंट हुआ उसको क्या बोलेंगे, फर्स्ट एजीएम। देन इट बिकम्स हाउ मेनी इयर्स, 5 इयर्स के लिए, अ टर्म ऑफ व्हाट, 5 इयर्स द सब्सिक्वेंट ऑडिटर ऑफ अ अदर देन गवर्नमेंट कंपनी इज अपॉइंटेड, ठीक है। नहीं, बैंड रेडी यू आर नॉट करेक्ट, अभी इसको वी विल सी व्हेन वी विल बी डूइंग सेक्शन 139 सबसेक्शन 2, 3 एंड 4, ठीक है। इज इट क्लियर, है ना। तो सेक्शन 139 सबसेक्शन 1 क्या कहता है, अपॉइंटमेंट कौन करेगा, मेंबर्स करेंगे एजीएम में, और जिस एजीएम में अपॉइंटमेंट किया है ना, कंसीडर दैट एज फर्स्ट एजीएम। देन टिल 6th एजीएम द ऑडिटर इज गोइंग टू होल्ड द ऑफिस एज अ ऑडिटर, subject to fulfillment of certain conditions, subject to fulfillment of certain conditions. So what are those conditions? We will have a look at all those conditions, ठीक है। तो अभी रुको, हमने अभी subsection 5 किया which is related to subsequent auditor in case of government company, वहां क्या था, the CAG shall appoint within a period of 180 days from the commencement of financial year who shall hold office till the conclusion of the annual general meeting, ठीक है। और CAG who is CAG, it is mentioned here, ठीक है। Now subsection 1, students concentrate on the screen, जो भी आपके डाउट्स है I'll definitely take them today if the time allows, otherwise in the next session, ठीक है। तो कार्तिक और किसके आ रहे हैं क्वेरीज, नीलाब्जो, स्मिता, I'll take all your queries, ठीक है। पर अभी के लिए understand this, section 139 subsection 1, it provides that every company shall at the first AGM, देखो फर्स्ट एजीएम तक किसने होल्ड किया था ऑफिस, फर्स्ट ऑडिटर ने, है ना। ये देखो क्या क्या लिखा था, कंक्लूजन, ये एस नहीं होगा यहाँ पे, टिल द कंक्लूजन ऑफ फर्स्ट एजीएम किसने होल्ड किया, फर्स्ट ऑडिटर ने, अब वो जा रहा है तो किसको अपॉइंट करना है, सब्सिक्वेंट ऑडिटर को। तो एवरी कंपनी को फर्स्ट एजीएम पे किसको अपॉइंट करना है, सब्सिक्वेंट ऑडिटर को। An individual or a firm as auditor who shall hold office from the conclusion of that meeting, उस मीटिंग को फर्स्ट एजीएम मानो, till the conclusion of the sixth AGM and thereafter till conclusion of every sixth AGM, ठीक है। तो हर सिक्स्थ एजीएम पे अपॉइंटमेंट होगा, ठीक है, ठीक है। द फॉलोइंग पॉइंट्स नीड टू बी नोटेड, ऊपर लिखा था ना टेबल में, सब्जेक्ट टू फुलफिलमेंट ऑफ सर्टेन कंडीशंस, सो व्हाट इज दिस। So सबसे पहले just try to understand, देखो when the auditor is been appointed, subsequent auditor is been appointed by the company. So first of all, auditor will take the company will take a written consent from the auditor कि auditor writing में दे दो that you have consented to become the auditor of our company. तो first तो point क्या आता है, written consent मिलेगा, प्लस auditor से एक certificate भी ले लो, obtain a certificate from the auditor that 4 conditions have been fulfilled by the auditor. If such appointment is made, 4 conditions are fulfilled. तो क्या क्या देखा आपने, एक तो क्या करना है, रिटन कंसेंट लेना है कि ओके आई अग्री, मैंने कंसेंट दिया दैट आई विल बिकम द ऑडिटर ऑफ दिस कंपनी, ठीक है। सेकंड क्या करना है, आई विल बी गिविंग अ सर्टिफिकेट टू द कंपनी दैट द 4 conditions as may be prescribed. Now you all know as may be prescribed means the rules. So rule number 4 of the company's audit and auditor rules 2014, it contains 4 conditions जो सर्टिफिकेट में ऑडिटर को मेंशन करना है, क्या क्या। ऑडिटर देखो, जस्ट ट्राई टू अंडरस्टैंड, बड़ा लॉजिकल है। पहले हमने क्या बोला कि ठीक है, आई गिव माई रिटन कंसेंट दैट आई हैव गिवन माई कंसेंट दैट आई विल बिकम द ऑडिटर ऑफ दिस कंपनी, ठीक है। सेकेंडली, अ सर्टिफिकेट इज टू बी गिवन, क्या, पहले तो ऑडिटर लिखेगा दैट आई एम एलिजिबल, I'm not disqualified in terms of section 141 and the rules regulations made thereafter. जो भी rules regulations हैं, जो भी आपका section 141 का है, उसमें I am not disqualified, I am eligible. Simple है। Secondly, auditor will write that जो भी appointment होने जा रहा है, it is as per the terms which are provided under the act, ठीक है। Third, auditor will specifically give a certificate that the appointment that has been made, it is within the limits, section 141 subsection 3 clause G, है ना, कितना number of audits he can take, so it is within the limits as prescribed by under this act, ठीक है, clear। third point, and fourth, auditor will also certify that if there are any proceedings against either the auditor, his audit firm, or any of the partner of the audit firm, if there is any list of proceeding, he will mention that such list of proceeding which has been provided to the company is true and correct. अब true and fair थोड़ी ना होगा, true and correct होगा ना, कि ये वाली proceedings चल रही हैं। fair तो क्या होता है, reasonable enough। अब ये तो absolute देना है ना कि ये वाले proceedings चल रहे हैं, तो that is why the word is what, true and correct, clear। and this is what about the certificate, consent ले लिया, ठीक है। Now there is a responsibility on the company also. When the company is appointing a subsequent auditor, company will then inform the auditor that see you have been appointed, है ना, you have been appointed, ठीक है। Further, the company will also file a notice with the registrar within 15 days of the meeting in which auditor is appointed, whereby the company will be informing the ROC about the appointment of such auditor or the audit firm. And how the company will be doing that? In ADT1. The form name is ADT1, whereby the details of the auditor or the audit firm will be mentioned. Is it clear? ठीक है? Just a minute. ठीक है? So students, we are discussing section 139 subsection 1, जहां पर we have seen that every company को first AGM में subsequent auditor को appoint करना है, who shall hold office from that AGM till the conclusion of the 6th AGM, मतलब 5 years आते हैं, ठीक है, ठीक है। Then Before such appointment is made, first of all, a written consent is to be taken from the auditor कि writing में consent ले लो कि ठीक है he is appointed, and a certificate. और उसमें क्या क्या he will be mentioning that he is eligible and not disqualified, that it is as per the terms, that it is as per the limits, and the list of proceedings if any are true and correct. Don't use the term fair here, है ना? Very logical ना, ठीक है? Then कंपनी के ऊपर क्या रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी है? व्हेन एन ऑडिटर हैज बीन अपॉइंटेड, उसको बताएंगे ना कि भाई अब आप अपॉइंट हो गए हो, 20 के लिमिट में काउंट कर लेना, यू हैव बीन अपॉइंटेड, ठीक है? और किसको बताना है? आरओसी को, within 15 days of meeting in which the auditor is appointed. Just wait for a minute, मेरा पेन गिर गया, just a minute. So just a minute. Okay. So section 139 subsection 1, it says every company shall at the first AGM appoint the individual or a firm as an auditor who shall hold office from the conclusion of that meeting till the conclusion of the 6th AGM and thereafter till the conclusion of every 6th AGM. What is meant by this? I'll discuss this when we'll be doing section 139 subsection 2, 3 and 4. Before such appointment, a written consent of the auditor of such appointment and a certificate from him or it matlab audit form that the appointment if made it shall be in accordance with the conditions as may be prescribed. और कहाँ prescribe किया है? Rule 4 में. Simple है. Just remember in your mind that क्या क्या है कि eligible हूँ, disqualified नहीं हूँ, term के according है, limits के according है, list of proceedings true and correct है. The individual or the firm, as the case is eligible for appointment, is not disqualified for appointment under Act, मतलब Companies Act 2013, CA Act, या rules and regulations made thereunder. The proposed appointment is as per the term provided under the Act. The proposed appointment is within the limits laid down under by or under the authority of the Act. The list of proceeding against या तो auditor, या अगर firm है तो firm, और या firm का कोई भी partner, pending with respect to professional matters of conduct as disclosed in the certificate is true and correct. Correct ही होगा ना, केस चल रहा है या नहीं चल रहा, फेयर कैसे हो सकता है? ये रीजनेबल थोड़ी ना दोगे, ठीक है? The company shall inform the auditor concerned of his or its appointment कि you have been appointed and also file a notice of such appointment with the registrar within 15 days of the meeting in which the auditor is appointed. And I told you that form number is ADT 1. So many of you will now write, ma'am, what is ADT 1? You can just type on Google ADT 1. You can have a look at the form. It contains the detail about the auditor whosoever has been appointed as the subsequent auditor. ठीक है, ठीक है, is it clear? ठीक है, so in section 139 what we have discussed about the appointment of first auditor, subsequent auditor, by bifurcating in both the things into two parts: government company, other than government company. First auditor other than government company, section 139 subsection 6, appointed by board of director within 30 days of the registration. In case of failure, will inform the board of director will inform the members who shall appoint it within next 90 days in the AGM. The first auditor so appointed shall hold office till the conclusion of first AGM. First auditor of government company to be appointed by CAG within 60 days from the date of registration. In case of failure, BOD within 30 days. In case of failure, 60 days to the members, and hold office till the conclusion of first AGM. Subsequent auditor, पहले government company का देखते हैं. 139 subsection 5 within 180 days करना है from the commencement of the year till the conclusion of the AGM. That's it. With respect to section 139 subsection 1, subsequent auditor of other than government company, members को करना है every AGM में, है ना? That meeting as being the first AGM and till 6th AGM, that is 5 years के लिए appoint हो गया. But उसके लिए कुछ conditions है. What are those conditions? एक written consent लेना है. देखो अब इसको कैसे learn करना है. यहाँ पर आप लिख सकते हो ना कि written माई पेन इज नॉट वर्किंग, पर यहाँ पे आप रिटन कंसेंट लिख सकते हो, प्लस आप सर्टिफिकेट लिख सकते हो, और यहाँ पे एरो डाल के यू कैन राइट कंडीशंस। कंडीशंस के बाद यू कैन सर्कल रूल 4 बात करता है, और यहाँ पे यू कैन राइट दैट एलिजिबल है, डिस्क्वालिफाइड नहीं है, ठीक है, टर्म के अकॉर्डिंग है, लिमिट्स के अकॉर्डिंग है, एंड जो भी लिस्ट ऑफ प्रोसीडिंग्स पेंडिंग है किसके अगेंस्ट, ऑडिटर, फर्म या पार्टनर के अगेंस्ट, सो दैट इज ट्रू एंड करेक्ट। एंड हियर यू कैन मेंशन व्हाट, दैट इन्फॉर्म करना है किसको, टू द ऑडिटर, टू आरओसी विद इन 15 days of such appointment, and an extra information that ADT 1 में अपॉइंट करते हैं, फॉर्म होता है फाइल, ठीक है। सो अभी आई विल नॉट टेक एनी न्यू टॉपिक, but yes, as many of you are saying, ma'am, please just revise whatever we have done today. So before that, quickly send in your replies whether you have understood or not. 141 और 139 को quickly just 5 minutes में revise करेंगे, और जो भी आपकी queries हैं I'll take them up in the next session. And students, it's a very humble request कि बहुत सारी ना MCQs मत बनाया करो. You guys start sending कि मैम अगर ऐसा होगा तो कैसा होगा, अगर वैसा होगा तो कैसा होगा. पहले just read the provisions. अभी आपने अंडरस्टैंडिंग ली ना, नाउ जस्ट गो थ्रू द मॉड्यूल once or twice. लॉ है, आपको 2 बारी 3 बारी पढ़ना पड़ेगा. Go through the entire module, go through the MCQs, and then you will see that you will yourself be able to answer to all the MCQs that you are making on your own. ठीक है? So still I'll try to take up all your queries in the next session, but quickly just 5 minutes. देखो 141 क्या था? Eligibility, Qualification and Disqualification. ठीक है? बहुत सिंपल है. देखो 4 सबसेक्शन है. पहला क्या कहता है, ओनली सीए फर्म है तो मेजॉरिटी ऑफ द पार्टनर्स प्रैक्टिसिंग इन इंडिया शुड बी एलिजिबल एज अपोसेड. सेकंड क्या कहता है, फर्म है, एलएलपी है तो ओनली सीए पार्टनर इज ऑथराइज्ड टू एक्ट एंड साइन. थर्ड क्या कहता है, वो सेकंड था. थर्ड क्या बोलता है, सबसेक्शन 3 को हम किसके साथ रीड कर रहे हैं, रूल 10 ऑफ द कार कंपनीज ऑडिट एंड ऑडिटर रूल 2014. 9 क्लॉजेज हैं. दैट फॉलोइंग पर्संस आर not eligible. कौन कौन, देखो बॉडी कॉर्पोरेट other than LLP, officer employee of the company, any partner or employee of the officer employee. D clause very important, mark कर लो, very very important. पर्सन खुद या रिलेटिव या पार्टनर क्या करते हैं, या तो कंपनी या होल्डिंग या सब्सिडरी या एसोसिएट या सब्सिडरी ऑफ सच होल्डिंग में 3 टाइप की ट्रांजैक्शंस है. क्या, या तो कोई भी सिक्योरिटी या इंटरेस्ट होल्ड करते हैं, लेकिन रिलेटिव 1 लाख तक कर सकता है. दिस इज फेस वैल्यू. 60 days का ग्रेस पीरियड दिया हुआ है टू टेक करेक्टिव एक्शन. दैट्स इट. या इन तीनों में से कोई भी इन कंपनीज में क्या करता है, इंडेटेड है मोर देन 5 lakhs के लिए, या गारंटी दिया है थर्ड पर्सन के लिए मोर देन 1 lakh. सिंपल. ई पॉइंट कहता है या तो पर्सन या फर्म, मतलब या ऑडिटर को, इंडिविजुअल ऑडिटर को अपॉइंट कर रहे हो या किसी ऑडिट फर्म को अपॉइंट कर रहे हो. सो दे डायरेक्टली और इनडायरेक्टली हैज बिजनेस रिलेशनशिप विद द कंपनी या सब्सिडरी, या सब कुछ सेम है, बस एक एडिशनल क्या है, द सब्सिडरी ऑफ एसोसिएट कंपनी. और क्या रूल्स में बताया गया है कि बिजनेस रिलेशनशिप ट्रांजैक्शन ऑफ कमर्शियल पर्पस, जो कि पहला पॉइंट क्या है कि सीए इज गिविंग सर्विसेज टू द क्लाइंट, लेकिन परमिटेड प्रोफेशनल सर्विसेज होनी चाहिए एज पर द एक्ट, एज पर द सीए एक्ट एंड रूल्स एंड रेगुलेशंस मेड देयर अंडर. और कंपनी क्या दे रहा है, देखो कोई भी ऑर्डिनरी कोर्स ऑफ बिजनेस में कुछ भी सर्विसेज दे रहा है, लाइक सेल या ऑफ प्रोडक्ट या सर्विसेज, जो कि क्लाइंट उसको ऑडिटर को एज ए कस्टमर दे रहा है, एट आर्म्स लेंथ प्राइस दे रहा है, एंड मोर स्पेसिफिकली टेलीकॉम, एयरलाइंस, हॉस्पिटल, होटल्स एंड सच अदर सिमिलर बिजनेस. नेक्स्ट पॉइंट क्या कहता है, अगर कोई भी रिलेटिव डायरेक्टर है या इन एम्प्लॉयमेंट ऑफ द कंपनी एज डायरेक्टर और केएमपी है. जी पॉइंट में क्या ध्यान में रखना है कि ऑलरेडी ऑक्यूपाइड है कि काम ही नहीं कर सकता, सो फुल टाइम एम्प्लॉयड है, ये ऑलरेडी हैविंग द अपॉइंटमेंट एज सच ऑडिटर इन मोर देन 20 कंपनीज, लेकिन इसमें 1% कंपनी, डॉर्मेंट कंपनी, स्मॉल कंपनी, प्राइवेट कंपनीज हैविंग पेड अप शेयर कैपिटल लेस देन ₹100 crores इज नॉट टू बी इंक्लूडेड. ये बहुत डिटेल में आपके फाइनल्स में आएगा, अभी के लिए ट्राई टू अंडरस्टैंड दिस. ठीक है. Then if any person has been convicted by the code of offense involving fraud and 10 years have not elapsed from the date of such conviction. 144 की कोई भी सर्विस आप दे रहे हो डायरेक्टली इनडायरेक्टली, किसको, कंपनी होल्डिंग सब्सिडरी को, डायरेक्टली इनडायरेक्टली. तो कोई भी सर्विस देनी है, फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल ये वाली सर्विसेज तो देनी नहीं है 144 की. अगर इसके अलावा भी कोई देते हो जो परमिटेड है, तो बोर्ड ऑफ डायरेक्टर्स या ऑडिट कमेटी का अप्रूवल चाहिए, प्रायर अप्रूवल. और कौन सी सर्विसेज है? अकाउंटिंग, बुक कीपिंग, इंटरनल ऑडिट, डिजाइन इम्प्लीमेंटेशन ऑफ फाइनेंशियल इंफॉर्मेशन सिस्टम, एक्चुरियल सर्विसेज, इन्वेस्टमेंट एडवाइजरी, इन्वेस्टमेंट बैंकिंग, आउटसोर्स फाइनेंशियल सर्विसेज, मैनेजमेंट सर्विसेज एंड एनी अदर काइंड ऑफ सर्विसेज एज मे बी प्रेस्क्राइब्ड। अगर आफ्टर अपॉइंटमेंट ऐसा डिस्क्वालिफिकेशन इनकर हो जाता है तो वकेट कर दो ऑफिस, कैजुअल वैकेंसी हो जाएगी, ठीक है। उसको फिल कैसे करेंगे? सेक्शन 139 सबसेक्शन 8 देखेंगे। सेक्शन 139 सबसेक्शन 1, 5, 6, 7 हमने किया। 6 कहता है कि फर्स्ट ऑडिटर अदर देन गवर्नमेंट कंपनी में बोर्ड ऑफ डायरेक्टर 30 डेज फ्रॉम द डेट ऑफ रजिस्ट्रेशन नहीं कर पाते, मेंबर्स को इन्फॉर्म करो, 90 डेज का टाइम पीरियड है, होल्ड करेगा ऑफिस टिल द कंक्लूजन ऑफ फर्स्ट एजीएम। सबसेक्शन 7 कहता है गवर्नमेंट कंपनी अब आपको पता है क्या है, नॉट लेस देन 51% इज हेल्ड बाय एसजी, सीजी एंड एवरीथिंग, ठीक है। इट इंक्लूड सब्सिडियरी ऑफ गवर्नमेंट कंपनी। सीएजी को 60 डेज दिया, वो नहीं कर पा रहे हैं, बोर्ड ऑफ डायरेक्टर को 30 डेज दिया, वो नहीं कर पा रहे हैं, देन फर्दर 60 डेज टू मेंबर्स एंड होल्ड ऑफिस टिल कंक्लूजन ऑफ फर्स्ट एजीएम। सब्सिक्वेंट ऑडिटर गवर्नमेंट कंपनी में अपॉइंटमेंट 180 डेज के अंदर हो जाएगा फ्रॉम द कमेंसमेंट ऑफ फाइनेंशियल ईयर। कौन करेगा? सीएजी, होल्ड करेंगे ऑफिस टिल द कंक्लूजन ऑफ दैट द एजीएम, नेक्स्ट एजीएम। अदर देन गवर्नमेंट कंपनी में मेंबर्स, एवरी एजीएम में मेंबर्स को करना है और वो 6 एजीएम तक होल्ड करेगा। एंड मैंने एक डायग्राम बनाया था ना, हाँ, तो 5 इयर्स का आ जाता है, ठीक है। बट अभी इसको हम लेटर ऑन डिस्कस करेंगे। कुछ कंडीशंस है, क्या कंडीशन है? देखो कैसे लर्न करना है, रिटन कंसेंट लेना है, सर्टिफिकेट लेना है, दैट कुछ कंडीशंस आर सैटिस्फाइड एज मे बी प्रिस्क्राइब्ड। कहाँ प्रिस्क्राइब्ड हुई है? रूल्स कोड में। सिंपल, व्हाट आर द 4 कंडीशंस? कि एलिजिबल है, डिस्क्वालिफाइड नहीं है, एज पर द टर्म जो एक्ट में है, एज पर द लिमिट्स जो एक्ट में है, लिस्ट ऑफ प्रोसीडिंग्स या तो ऑडिटर के अगेंस्ट, या अगर ऑडिट फर्म है तो ऑडिट फर्म या पार्टनर, जो भी डिस्क्लोज किया है वो, वट एवर आर पेंडिंग विद रिस्पेक्ट टू प्रोफेशनल मैटर्स एज डिस्क्लोज इन द सर्टिफिकेट आर व्हाट? ट्रू एंड करेक्ट, ठीक है। कंपनी की क्या रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी है? कंसर्न ऑडिटर को बताएगा दैट यस यू हैव बीन अपॉइंटेड एंड ऑल्सो टू इन्फॉर्म आरओसी within 15 days from the meeting that so and so person has been appointed, ठीक है। चलो, so I hope whatever we have discussed so far is clear. We will be completing section 139 in entirety, all 11 subsections, and I will give you a summary with respect to what is contained in all the subsections, along with the forms and along with the rule that need to be considered, ठीक है। But before coming for the next session, you must go through the module twice at least, along with all the case studies and example. Then only I'm repeating it again. Whatever MCQs you are giving me to solve now, you yourself will be able to solve all the MCQs. Okay? So Smita is saying, ma'am, enjoyed your class. That's good. ठीक है, स्टूडेंट्स डू टेल मी वेदर एवरीथिंग इज क्लियर, जैसे आई एम एक्सप्लेनिंग इट टू यू, वेदर इट इज हेल्पिंग यू आउट, एंड माई एंडेवर इज नॉट ओनली टू मेक यू अंडरस्टैंड बट ऑल्सो टू मेक यू लर्न, ठीक है। एंड लर्निंग कैसे होगा? जैसे हम रिवाइज कर रहे हैं क्विकली, फिंगर टिप्स पे है ना कि 4 कंडीशंस हैं, 4 ये है, फिर 15 डेज के अंदर बताना है, आरएसवी को बताना है, ऑडिटर को, ऐसे ही यू नीड टू लर्न, ठीक है। जस्ट कंपनी ये लॉ बेस्ड है, दिस चैप्टर नंबर 10, सो यू विल हैव टू लर्न, अंडरस्टैंड करोगे, लॉजिकली समझोगे तो पक्का से समझ आएगा, ठीक है। सो विद अ वेरी पॉजिटिव नोट एंड होपिंग दैट यू विल डेफिनेटली गो थ्रू द एंटायर मॉड्यूल एंड यू विल डेफिनेटली डू द होमवर्क। कौन सा दिया था? केस स्टडीज रीड करना था ना, 3rd and 4th. Let us just end the session for today. Have a happy learning and good night. Thank you for being a patient listener. Thank you.